But ladies and gents, here we are, and this is the round of 16 matchup between Khazral and Emperor Sigismund. This is Hidden Cup 5. I'm so excited to see Islands back again. And we've got Emperor Sigismund playing as the Italians, a civilization which is so dominant on water, so good on islands. And then we've got Khazral with the more unique approach here, the Bengalis in the north. With me, I have Slam. And Slam, if there's one thing I know about you, is that you are an absolute expert on islands. So
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not, because there was a time where I did love islands. I remember I used to play a lot against Fire, or way back in the day. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it anymore. It's probably a map that I'm going to end up banning unless I know that my opponent hates it. Hates it more than I do. In that case, I don't mind having it. I just love how the first, the map that hasn't been played, it's just the first game that I get to cast.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. I haven't seen an Islands game this whole time. And so it does make you think these can't be players that hate Islands, right? So there might be some names that come to mind for people that hate it, because this had to make its way all the way through 3 bans on either side. So clearly 2 players that are comfortable enough not to ban Islands, but also don't love it enough to have picked it as a home map. Now that, as all the data I give people, might tell you absolutely nothing, but it's something to think about. And that's kind of the big point of this whole tournament. Slam, Italians, cheaper dock techs, cheaper fishing ships, cheaper to go up to the next stage. All that makes so much sense. But the Bengalis on water, give me your thoughts.
Well, they're just a bit more of a recent civ, right? I think Italians has been around for much longer. So players, even me, I'm much more familiar with Italians. Bengalis, though, we've been playing a lot on water as well. I think they're getting pretty known now too. They do have the ships that can heal, getting the extra vills, every single age you're up is really nice. And because you're on an island, you don't just securing that extra vill count is really nice. But yeah, I haven't personally played a whole lot of Bengalis on water, so there's still a little bit of an unknown to me.
Yeah. Well, that could even speak to the players a little bit more as well. Players who are a bit more comfortable with it. I would say the big relevant bonuses for me would be the ship regeneration, which plays its role especially in Fire Galley Wars, because usually you're going into an attack and pulling back to repair. Here you have a combination of the regeneration and also the repairing. But then also you have the additional villagers you get. And on a normal map, like Arabia, let's say, you're worried that because of the lack of land tech tree, that you might not be able to keep your vills alive. But on islands, it's just 2 free vills. And then if it goes to Castle Age, it's another 2 free vills, which I don't think many players are really going to hate, right? It's a bonus that you don't really have to work too hard to take advantage of. So I like Bengalis a lot. I do think, though, Italians should have the edge in the long run just because of how cheap their dock techs are.
Yeah, and normally in islands, I guess we'll probably see galleys, right? Because Fire, well, it depends on the civ too, right? I know in the past, Italians would maybe sometimes put their docks further back because maybe they want to do a faster up or go for a fire ship build of some sort. But I think galleys is probably the way to go. But yeah, let's see what happens.
So I don't have exact stats here on this Slam, but I'm gonna say I'm pretty close with what I remember here, and I want to say galley opening happened about 35% of the time. Fire galley opening happened about 35% of the time, and then the rest was transport and landing. It honestly was that close throughout the qualifier, at least. But there were some people with very strong opinions on this map. Not just from the players, but also on the subreddit or forums or whatever, before a single game was played. You know how it is. This is going to be Fatoria Fest, but which we've only seen once, and I'm not salty. Anyways, the point is, it's people have different views on how maps could be played. And I think it's possible that the top 16 may look at all that stuff from the qualifiers and say, yeah, that worked for them, but we're in a different league, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so I guess we'll find out right now what these guys think. And the initial thought from most of the high level players was precisely what you said. And two dot galleys was what a lot of people were thinking.
Yeah, it's usually when there's more distance between, you and the enemy. That's obviously where galleys is going to be more beneficial because it's
Mm-hmm.
it's that early approach from fire ships, which is really deadly. But as soon as you get that galley mass, maybe 6 galleys or so, you can really start just to destroy fire ships. So yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of it has to do with the distance when it comes to your opening on any sort of water map.
I could explain as well why Sigismund wanted to dock off to the side here. Now, you don't know exactly where your opponent is, but this is clearly on the longer side of the island. So I think Sigismund wanted a bit more space for the galleys. And in the rare occurrence where we had the galleys versus the fires, the galleys were almost always able to overtake. I There's a small thing here I want to get out in front of though. I found that once you get to like 6 galleys against fire and feudal slam, you're going to be able to micro down those ships, and then it becomes about taking down those docks. So some players will actually shift back into fires after the initial galley opening, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself.
Yeah, and after everything I just said here, I see a fire ship coming out. But I mean, sometimes maybe players will open with a fire, then into galleys. I think blue has galleys queued up now. Um, One thing,
True.
just off the side topic here with this map, compared to the islands I've played back in the day, is I've noticed there's 2 relics on each of these mini islands, which is really cool to see. So it just makes going for those islands much more of a play.
Yeah, it was really the wood stalemates, the running out of resources, which does happen on islands, and we didn't shy away from with this version. We had the option of adding more trees, but I felt it would just delay the inevitable. So
Yeah.
the relics there have made a big difference. Again, another stat, which is not a stat that I'm just pulling from my brain, but I think usually the players who have those relics are the players winning the game. That's a lot of gold income you can have.
Yeah, it's crazy to think back in the day we'd have these maps where the wood distribution would be completely unbalanced, right? So
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. It's now balanced, but I can't believe there was a time where it's like that map starts. It's like, okay, well, let's roll the dice. Let's hope I got a lot of wood.
Yeah, no, it is completely balanced. Pretty much to the tree, though obviously we're not going to spend time counting that here. I think it's 80k starting wood on the entire map. And obviously there's a little bit on those islands. But man, I'm noticing a trend here. And the trend I'm noticing is that both of these players are playing so differently than the qualifying players with how much they make on water. They feel like they need Navy, but they are super relaxed with the attacks, and they just want to rush to Castle Age here. And this is something I normally associate with like someone like Viper, for example, always did this on islands. Just a defensive opening into Castle Age against the aggressors, but they're both kind of playing a similar style here.
Yeah, and it's almost mirrored. They had both started with 2 docks, and normally I would think you'd add that third one. I think there is
Yeah,
a third one being added for red, but the third one is not even. It's either being added super slow or not at all. Like for instance, from
yeah.
in Blue's case. Um, so I don't have an explanation for this, but they're the ones in this tournament, so they've probably practiced it and they know something a little bit more than I do.
Yeah, I guess the logic is in Castle Age, the ships do so much more. So let's make sure we get there as quickly as possible. And I don't think Khosrow's timing is bad by any means, but this time from Sigismund is incredible. And he's going to be making fires. He will upgrade those fires, and it's mainly galleys for Khosrow. So I would say Khosrow is going to struggle on water here unless he can somehow get a transport across. I see him making a transport ship right now. Could be thinking about sending some villagers across to the mainland of the opponent's island and making it messy. There we go.
Oh
I love
boy,
it.
this is I don't for my boy Siggy. Like I hope he catches this. He's doing great so far. I hope he pulls through. But yeah, I hope he catches that.
Yeah, you really invested into rooting for Sigismund here?
I've doubled down. I have everything on this guy now.
Okay, okay, good to know. Yeah, I still haven't gotten over my heartbreak of Salim the Grim going down. Man, look at Sigismund. Dude, did you tell him? Oh, oh, he just missed
I
it.
mean, if I could, I would. No, I wouldn't. But I mean, oh, oh man. But he might see the blue scout coming in.
How is he not seeing anything here? I mean, Khazral's been
man.
really sneaky. The scout's on patrol. The barracks is going to go up most likely, and Khazral might have some problems on water right now, but this is now how Khazral shakes things up for us here.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, when you start pushing a player and they're not looking, you know, they're not paying as much attention to their water, or it's looking a little fragile. Some, you know, these players can get that suspicion that something else could be going on. In this case,
Yeah,
though,
true.
I mean, blue is, I don't, like, how can you be, like, look at Red Scout. It's just an inch away, so.
Yeah, and Khazral's showing some fight on water, which might make it difficult for Sigismund to notice. But the early fires have done a lot of damage there. The scout did see the monastery, and Ember Sigismund realizes now the opponent is on my island, and it's a seed workshop, a barracks, and also a monastery. So this is like, normally I'd ask my co-caster, Slam, break down for me what you do in these situations. This is just chaos at this point, right? There's no like build order or anything that gets you out of these situations.
Yeah, this is super tricky. It's so annoying to try and keep your attention on water, especially when the enemy's running around with their boats and their boats are not dead yet. So you got to keep focusing on land. You're going to lose your fish. Not only that, when I'm up against Bengalis, their monks already scare me enough. So if I see two monasteries like this, yeah, it's a bit of a panic mode.
Yeah, I understand that one. And what it does is it allows your focus at home on your eco. So in theory, like, you can't make any economic mistakes right now if you're Khazral. You're done on fish. You're just adding vills. But it's very easy if Sigismund, you know, farms in the wrong area, has villagers in the wrong area. It's very easy for him to make big mistakes. Look at Khazral kill the fishing ships here. I really like that.
Yeah.
Sneaky stuff.
Back in the day, I feel like players would just patrol their boats and fight, and then they would land, and then they would just get rid of their you know, all their army on water. Obviously, the times have changed, and players have gotten a lot more clever. And if they're going to lose water, they don't completely lose it. They just run their boats somewhere else, and then it really messes up the opponent because they're just running all over the map, and the other opponent doesn't know if they should invest more or not.
Yeah, it does feel like Sigismund should be able to eventually deal with those war galleys, but the war galleys got really nice kills, and you're going to have an interesting situation here. Khazral added some spears in case there could be scouts or light cav, but he does not know the light cav are out there, and as he pulls the ships away, this is where a demo could land. Interesting choice there from Sigismund. I know a player who's known for his demos, who the community voted as Gajamada yesterday. But I gotta say, I mean, it's a close game right now. The defense from Sigismund has been pretty good so far. Gets the kill there. Has Light Cav waiting behind to swoop in.
Yeah, if you're up against Bengalis monks, if you have the food or, you know, the extra resources, I think getting forging is really important because these monks are so tanky. So forging will really help out your light cavalry to pick them off very quickly.
Oh, man, the micro here from both with the siege is incredible. There go the light cav. Now, the monks need to be ready on both sides, need to be careful. That we might end up seeing light cav get converted here, or maybe the light cav will just get killed. And Khazral ends up converting the light cav. He loses some monks. And I don't really know who ended up in the better position here. I'm going to lean towards Khazral, but he did lose a couple monks in the process.
Yeah, I mean, something that's hidden behind all of this, because, you know, we obviously want to look at the place where the action is at, is how well can you maintain this aggression while booming at home? That can actually be the difference. So blue may lose this eventually, but if he's been keeping his multitasking on point and his eco pulls ahead, that sets him up for the future. And so what if this landing dies? He's going to destroy later if he kept everything efficient, which is really hard to do in this situation.
Yeah, and I think this is why we saw so much landing here. Big attack ground there from Cosrel. Really nice attack ground. Actually, like have... Oh, would have considered it. But yeah, Slam, I know we haven't seen a lot of islands, but that is exactly what people have realized, I think, in 2024 islands is against good micro players, you just need to make it messy. And it's a micro and boom scenario then at that point, which is what a lot of other maps become, in all honesty.
Yeah. Landings are just so annoying to me that like if they just landed and placed buildings down and made no units, it would still annoy me and slow me down somehow because there's something about the build. Like you kill the army, but then these buildings just sit there for the next 10 minutes and you got to slowly kill them off, and the siege workshop never dies. He pops out another mangonel and it's just a nuisance. So, yeah.
Important to put a stop to it then, and that's what Sigismund's trying to do. This has been an extremely even game. A lot of players would have lost more against the Siege Monk push, especially when he did notice it a little bit late. And we see a castle there for Sigismund, but not at a good time. And oh my goodness, he almost lost the foundation. I mean, he could still lose all of his villagers here.
Yeah, this is looking really good for blue right now. His Vil count is sort of taking off a little bit. He still has those galleys floating around the water too. I don't know how he's managed to land and still have, you know, color on the water here.
Yeah, this castle will shoot down most of the buildings, which is a big thing. I mean, assuming it completes. But this is now where I would assume that the thinking for Cosrel... Well, right now, he's happy to do whatever he can here. But in general, his approach is, whether I deny this castle or not, I'm going to win this game on water in the Imperial Age.
Yeah. Do these monks have redemption on them?
I actually don't think they do. He got Atonement super early. So he could convert the enemy monks. But I don't actually think he's ever gotten redemption, which is interesting.
Yeah. Oh, man. If you got to get your...
Apparently, I'm being told they both do.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Oh, both of them do. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, we're very observant casters here. For us both to miss that, but it's all good. The castle goes up for Emperor Sigismund. He's now at 59 eco. It is 80 eco for Cosrel.
Oh man, that's a chunk of Vils being ahead there too. And if you think about Bengalis too, they're going to hit Imp. They're going to get another boost in villagers. I think the transition is going to be pretty good for blue going into Imperial Age. This is
the perfect Bengali game here on water. You get to go for literal Bengalis on water. Then you have the monks. Then you have the eco. Like, every bonus that could have been taken advantage of here with the Bengalis has been taken advantage of. I'm very impressed by Cosrel. It seemed like sometimes, Slam, when people land in Castle Age, they do so because they started to lose on water. To me, this almost seems like this was part of his plan the entire time.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with just a 2-dock opening as well. Not fully committing to water. Although Red did 2 docks as well. Maybe players are just really, anticipating more lands. So they're just being extra cautious not to invest, too much into water.
Yeah, that landing might not have really denied many resources at this point, but it did open up the opportunity for Cosrel. Cosrel collected 22,000 more resources. And now would be the time to start to fight back on water, as you want to make sure you control those neutral islands, start to bring in those relics, and then prep for the late game.
Yeah, I like look at blue, just slowly just adding the next dock. And his castle placement is perfect for that island too. There's a little, pointy spot there. I think that's just excellent. And he's up on he's up to the next stage. So
that's true. That was made for a castle. Did you happen to see the game in the qualifier? Valis built a castle on the pointy spot, as you so call it, and a demo was there, and it took out the foundation.
Oh, who was he against? I think I did see that.
I think it might have been Sobek, because I think
Sobek was doing pretty good that game too.
Yeah, actually, I think it was the round before. Sobek did beat Valis in the decider, but oh boy, we got villagers headed to a neutral island here to drop a castle for Emperor Sigismund.
Oh boy. So looking at this map, can Trebs reach some spots on the middle islands. I don't know if they can.
Sometimes.
It might be
Sometimes.
sometimes.
Yeah. So in this case, you could like treb that dock, for example. But the castle, you can't treb the castles. But sometimes I've seen players build castles too close to the shoreline, and then it could be range. So you do have to be aware of that, because I don't think you want your castle to be trebable by the opponent's castle, or by the opponent's trebs, rather.
I'm curious if Blue saw this castle going. I think those boats were close enough. But if he did see Red putting that castle up, it kind of sets him in the the direction as to where the fight's going to happen. And yeah, so that's good. So maybe he'll get out some early cannon galleons.
Emperor Sigismund wasting no time here. Look at that. He actually leaves the relics on the shoreline and says, I have to go get those other ones fast. I'll come back for you later. Wow.
Let's go, Siggy. Let's go. Come on, get those relics.
I'm getting, I'm definitely getting some vibes from Sigismund here of a qualifier player. Remember, Islands was in the qualifying map pool. Oh God, there go the monks. I think the monks need to turn around and go home. Go get the relics.
Just a little bit of trivia here, which I don't know the answer to. Are transport ships? What's the fastest boat on the water? Because that transport ship got out of there.
Fastest boat, maybe a Berber ship would have to be the fastest.
Oh, okay.
Because is that cheating?
No, that's great. I put you on the spot, and that was.
Oh, go! Get it! Run away! Oh no!
Oh, does this have one relic?
Slam, it was a very relevant question. Is a transport ship faster than a fire? And it is, even faster than a fast fire. There he goes.
Thank goodness.
He's yoinking the relic. No misclicks allowed. Boom. Wow. I mean, that could be so important here to have 3 of the relics that were in the middle.
So that will be 4 relics versus 2, if I'm getting that correctly. There's 6 total.
It should be 5, actually, because there's the 2 relics on your island. Now the 3 relics in the middle. And then it would be, I guess it'd be 5 versus 3 in this case. Now, the thing we missed for Emperor Sigismund, still way behind in villagers, and still doesn't have a lot of ship techs, but is getting ship right now, which is a big tech for the long term on islands.
Yeah. And that upgrade is cheaper as well, is it not? Or is it just the galley upgrades?
It is cheaper. Yeah, which is, I think, the big reason why Italians are dominating on water. You have to have an eco lead to be able to get it as well. And there you have Khosrau getting shipwright. So he had to pay full price for it, which I think is 1,000 food and 300 gold. A bit awkward on a map where you don't normally need a lot of food. But Slam, question for you, just in a very specific thing. At this point of an Islands game, are you canceling auto farm? Are you removing that from your mill?
Absolutely. I remember playing a 2v2 with Doubt years ago, and he kept complaining that he had no wood to build boats, and then like 5 minutes later, he's like, "Oh, I have auto reseed on or whatever." And then since that day, it's been cemented into me. I'm like, yeah, let's make sure I never touch that button.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of players have auto reseed farm as default at the start of a game. More pros do, I think, now than they did in the past. I know a player like you, Slam, you probably don't have it on until you turn it on later on. Is that correct?
That is correct. I actually did not know that was a thing to have it on. Yeah.
Wait, as if a feature, I'm in shock. Or you didn't know other people did it?
A feature and the other people did it. It's like,
okay, got it.
I don't know. Like, I'm in shock. That's like, I don't know. I figured out recently too that the whole pineapple on pizza. You know what? I'm not going to bring that up right now because.
Okay, yeah. It's probably not an important time to get to that divisive of a topic when we've got fires coming in on the right side, and the galleons are going to get completely surrounded. Emperor Sigismund with an amazing engagement out of nowhere.
It's like they just got squished in there. That was so nice to watch. I'm actually surprised at how well Red is playing. Maybe that Italian's bonus, cheaper up and cheaper upgrades made up for the difference for the build difference. But I don't know. I
Yeah.
still, not even just by looking at score, it just still feels like blue's in a good spot. But if red can hold off with that relic, the extra relics, it could look better and better for him.
Notice the amount on food for Emperor Sigismund right now. 1 on food. He says, I will only make ships. I will not have anything on farms. I think we really, honestly, when we find a moment here, we need to make sure that we go to the mill of Khosrau and see if he has auto farm on. I actually think with 35 still on food, that he may have auto farm on, which might be something we discuss. A big fight happening here, though. Fires in front of Galleons is what you want. Both players are doing this. We have guilds now from Khosrau, so maybe it's calculated to bank up the food to get more gold in return when you sell it with guilds. But I agree with you, Slam. I've been really impressed with how Emperor Sigismund has played this from the Vil deficit that he found himself in.
Yeah. And I'm just double checking here. I do remember watching the game with Sobek. I think he was missing chemistry for the longest time, but it does. What's that?
Sorry, auto farm was on. Auto farm was on. That's why I made that noise.
Oh, it was. Okay.
That's a lot of wood. For Khosrau, that's a lot of wood that you're spending on things other than ships at this point.
Oh man, look at the micro from blue. That's pretty good. I think red needs to pay attention to that, because that can definitely, swing some battles one way for someone if there's a lot of projectiles missing.
And elite cannon galleon on the right side. Now this, we spoke of the old days, and this is not something we saw in the past. Cannon galleons have received multiple buffs over the last few years, and so we've seen so many different things here. I think at this point, Slam, the fact that the ships are slowly regenerating for that big group of galleons for the Bengalis is a really nice bonus to have. I almost forgot about it.
Yeah, it's massive. It's just like having a little portable monk somewhere in the army just healing everyone at once.
Oh, please don't say that. Please don't say that. The next DLC is going to have like a ship monk or something, and then arena players are suddenly going to be spamming ship monks. We don't want that. Please no,
kind of cool though. Like a healing.
No, it
like
wouldn't. No, and then
pathing's
pathing's going to be screwed up for 3 years. No, it wouldn't be. Okay, maybe it would be. Thank you, Microsoft, for sponsoring Hidden Cup 5. We got the ships continuing on here, and the numbers are 30 to 30, but actually, Emperor Sigismund coming in with more on the right-hand side, and Sigismund is taking the better of the engagements, has far more galleons, and has the 5 relics behind this.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier with the relics, if he's winning here and the game continues, this is just going to look better and better. Although I was going to say wood could be a worry, but they each have their own island, which seems quite divided, which is nice for Siggy as well.
Yeah, this is going to come down to not the amount of wood accessible, because it's pretty much the same, but it's the amount of wood that the players have to spend. What's also kind of funny is there's less workers on wood for Khosrau, and Sigismund has 70 on wood, so Sigismund might actually finish his island's wood faster. But I think in theory, in terms of the wood that gets banked up, this should be way better for Sigismund because the opponent is investing into reseeding farms right now.
Oh, man. I have a terrible habit. It must be from all the Black Forest games I've been playing, but when the wood just stacks up, I'm so tempted to go to the market and just start selling it just to get gold. And I've done that on islands by accident before, and it goes late game, and I'm scratching my head going, well, this is unfair. Where did all the wood? And then I remember, okay, I sold everything I had.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, maybe we could see if you have excess food, sell that off. You don't need that. Get the gold, then buy the wood. You could see that market back and forth happen. But, this fight is just continuous. Khosrau continues to try and get fires in front here. And looks like it's helping at times, but I've been so impressed with the patience of Sigismund. Has his own cannon galleons now waiting to go for the castle. And what a back and forth naval battle this is.
Yeah, this is just, I'm just constantly looking at the army numbers. It just looks like red is continuously fighting with a little bit more There's been some games where I played where I keep getting trapped into a fight where they have 10 more boats, and I have to, the player needs to back off a bit and get that stat going instead of constantly fighting against larger numbers. But it can be sort of a mental trap you fall into.
So Khosrau turned off auto farm, also bought some wood. So I don't know which happened first, but I'm pretty sure that Blue realized, okay, it's that stage of the game. We need to make sure that we have wood here. Now, that should be as dead even as it gets. In fact, I think it might be down to the tree because of how the maps are scripted. So what's available should be similar. Crazy fights, and all of a sudden, Khosrau has more galleons. And as he tries to use the cannon galleons against the castle, he has to back away. And this is a special game right now, man. This is amazing what we're witnessing.
So, from the start of the match, when you saw these two civs, did you have any sort of feeling as to maybe if one was better than the other? Because, I mean, I'm not used to Italians versus Bengalis. I'm sure it's been played often, but I really don't know what's the better civ overall. I would think Bengalis because of the ship healing. What are your thoughts?
My thinking was Bengalis are a brilliant pick because Italians are so obviously high pick for a lot of people. And Bengalis, you might be able to get away with a later pick in the round of the draft. And I also felt like Bengalis would be good with the landing. So I think this has kind of worked out according to whatever game plan you could have. But I'm still very curious. I mean, that wood count is insane right now for Sigismund. But he just doesn't have the gold, actually, to make ships. I mean, in theory, he should be able to, I suppose, because he has more gold income, but... Man, maybe being able to sell that food with guilds for Khosrau is actually clutch here. Maybe it was a good idea he farmed.
Yeah, maybe the auto farm, in the long run, just this domino effect into food, into gold. Did these mini islands, did they have gold on them initially? I can't recall.
Yeah, gold and a bit of stone. And looks like we're going to see a castle in a moment for Khosrau. And he's going to drop it on that neutral island there. Oh, no, he's going to drop a lumber camp. Honestly, really smart strategy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's trying his best to take out the navy as well from Sigismund. And Sigismund is losing his navy. The galleon mass for the Bengalis is insane. And if you look at the HP, obviously it's still going down for Khosrau here. But when there's not an engagement happening, it's going to be climbing upwards because of the regeneration. It's a beautiful play from Khosrau on the back of the landing, and he might be near killing off Sigismund to start off the game. Sigismund's down to 20 galleons.
Yeah, and Blue getting out those early cannon galleons, which was really nice because as the galleys are fighting in front, they can, work away on castles. For example, Siggy's castle that's already gone. I don't even remember when that vanished, but Khosrau is doing an excellent job.
Yeah, villagers are just kind of dealing with this themselves. There's the ship battle, and then the villagers are boxing each other there. But I mean, the docks are so needed and cost wood. The relics are in a monastery, which is likely somewhere near the shoreline. The cannon galleons could take them. I mean, the eco count for Blue has actually gone way down. I think he might have deleted a bunch of villagers. There might be a bunch of dead vills on the island of Khosrau. It's somewhere. If you wanted to, yes, it's a slaughter. Oh God, the villagers have just been killed off. He doesn't want them anymore. There's no use for them anymore. Oh geez, oh no!
Oh,
somehow around their final tree that they chopped as well. But while the plague has hit both of these two, it is still about the water where Khosrau has doubled the navy slam.
Oh man, I just hope at some point someone sneaks in a little trade cog at some point in one of these games.
You know what's interesting is I'm looking at the res remaining and the relic situation. I honestly think if Sigismund took some better fights over the last 5 minutes and was a bit more patient, he could eventually get up to 80 or 90 himself. He's still got wood.
Yeah.
And he still has those relics. But the problem is Khosrau's slowly chipping away at him now, taking out the docks, which is a costly thing to lose. And yeah, we are officially, we have 2,000 wood left on the map. And I think the 2,000 wood left on the map is on these the neutral islands somewhere.
I'm just trying to put myself in Siggy's position, and or anyone who's up against Bengalis. It's like when you're done a fight and you've both backed off, just knowing that their
Yeah.
boats are like, I know we've touched on this a few times, but just trying to get behind the emotion, it's like, oh man, like I need to fight again because all of his boats are just being healed up constantly.
Yeah, it might make you stay in a fight longer if you think they've got weaker ships and take a poor engagement. But yeah, I agree with you. It's just like, if this becomes a waiting game, not a bad deal for the Bengalis at all here. Big fight happening, though. Some of the ships for Khazra aren't fighting the main group, but it still doesn't seem to really matter. There's still so many galleons stacked. Look at them when they spread out. It's like, you can kind of do that if you want to trick your opponent. Just stack them. And then you can go spread formation, and then suddenly the whole screen is covered with the sails, and the opponent's terrified.
And the army count, yeah, it is. The difference is just getting bigger and bigger.
And look at that stat at the end there, right? 240 galleons created from Khazral, 276 created from Emperor Sigismund, and Sigismund also created 64 fires. But it was just the consistent engagements from Khazral, which, of course, all the momentum that he got was set up from the landing at the start. Beautiful way for Khazral to start it off. It wouldn't even surprise me here, Slam, as we see the KD, but then the eco, to see that the res collected might be a bit higher. Won't be food, but like wood, more for Sigismund. Gold, more for Sigismund. It was just the fights from those Bengali galleons. He's going to go for evacuation. Now, as a reminder here, because we've seen a lot of sets, and everyone who's watched Hidden Cup has watched every single second, heard every word I said, and really enjoyed it, I hope, maybe, sort of. So, this game here was played without the knowledge of the other evacuation games, Slam, right? All these rounds were played behind closed doors. They were finished before coverage. So Sigismund or Khazral couldn't see what other people did on this map. They can't get a feel for what other people did unless, of course, they trained with them. And we've got Celts for Sigismund. We never see Celts in competitive AoE2 against the Japanese for Khazral. So what are you thinking right off the bat with his pick from Siggy to go for Celts?
I'm just as surprised as you are. Celts is just something you never see in a draft anymore. I don't know if I'm recalling correctly, but I feel like Yo has used Celts a while back, and in some I might be a little off on that, but we're gonna have to see more of these games to see if there's any hints that it could be Yo. But yeah, Celts is unusual, but it could work really well here.
I wonder if Khazral's looking for this boar. We've seen two players go out with the scout, look for the boar, and bring it in with their scout. It doesn't seem like Khazral's doing that. He's just going for the pigs. What about Sigismund? Sigismund looking, sees a boar. This is part of the strat. This might be the time, and Sigismund just looking for the cow and is going to get the cow. But Slam, I got a fun fact for you, and I got a fun fact for viewers. This is going to blow people's minds. Well, some people, okay? So buildings on cracked terrain take a lot more damage. And the entire evacuation area, that area there is cracked terrain. Now, the saying with Celts is Celt eat TC, because Celt Siege kills TCs. You know Huang. You played him 100 times and had nightmares about him. He's the guy who does that.
Very well.
If this is cracked terrain, the buildings go down a lot faster. So I'm just saying, if whoever Sigismund is, if he wants to go for a Huang, if he wants to go for a siege push, it could work really well on this map.
Yeah, it's giving me some anxiety just thinking about it already. I've had enough games against Celts with Huang. If a player wants to mimic something like that, though, I would love to watch it. I always love watching it. I don't like playing against it, but watching it is always super fun. So I'm hoping there's something juicy that's going to happen here.
All right, yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat, dude. I mean, I love to watch it, but do you think I want to play against Huang? Absolutely not. It's just like, when you beat someone like Huang, it doesn't feel like you won. It just feels like you got through it, It doesn't feel good.
It costs an arm and a leg every time. There's a part of your soul that kind of leaves each time. As for the cracked terrain, yeah, that's something that's really good to note. I've learned the hard way with the cracked terrain before. I've walled over it before, and someone's coming with man at arms, and I look away, I look back, and the
Yep.
palisade's already destroyed. And I didn't know cracked terrain did that for a while. So I was
Yep.
just like, man, like man at arms are really strong these days. I should start going more often. And then it wasn't until like weeks later where I'm like, oh, okay, all right, that's
Yeah.
why.
Well, I think it is definitely something Khazra is going to have to think about. Now, there's a map element that Khazra really paid attention to. If you look at his scouting, Khazra actually brought in a lot of the extra cows. So they are spread randomly throughout the mainland, I always call. And he really went crazy for that. So he didn't go for the boars. He may eventually move out to take out our resources, but he's got like 1,000 food coming to his TC now. That he actually, hold on, he's veering off. He's veering off because the enemy scout is near. But he will hopefully get these things home.
That is so many cows. Did someone go Gajars on this map, or am I thinking of another map? I must.
No one went Gajars on this map.
Oh, okay.
Oh, don't tell me he's gonna find the cows with Celts.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Here we go. He finds the cows and he's like, "Thank you very much. Thanks for doing all the hard work for me." And these cows just follow orders. And now Sigismund's going to be able to get all that food home.
Those are harder to get back against Celts, are they not? Like, isn't that one of the bonuses of Celts?
Yes, it is. It is. But I do not know if it plays like much of a role here. You still see them changing, and now you've got cows changing again, and now the cows are very confused. And we'll see. I mean, at what point does Khazra just give up on 2 of them when you have 6? I don't know, because you got to scout the rest of the map too.
Yeah. So this map's a little bit new to me because it is a new map. What are you normally seeing? Like our players, so I see both players are building fish, and then getting over to the next place looks like there's a lot more resources over there, right? Even wood. So I'm guessing TCs and everything is slowly evacuated over to the left.
Yep.
And is that what you've seen in the previous games?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some interesting things with the Goths, like sending villagers forward to make it messy. But I also had watched and played, I want to say like maybe 3 dozen games on this, and that most competitive players are going to go like man-at-arm opening or archer opening in combination with water. And as Khazra gets his cows back home, you can see he's actually going double archer range through the middle. And he's also going for a fire galley. So this is a lot of investment.
Yeah, I can see how Japanese is a pretty decent civ here too. You got your cheaper lumber camps, mining camps, quicker fish. Just seems like a solid civ here.
Dude, if this blue player can't quick wall, we're gonna find out real quick because those man-at-arms are so fast, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, geez, that was close with blue. Yeah.
I think Celts on this with the similar logic to maybe what we had just said about the Bengalis on islands. I know it's super early. I don't hate Celts as a pick on this. There's 5 bans per player. Is the potential to do some damage if you want to be really aggressive. But so far, Khazra is just like so calmly dealt with this. And it doesn't seem like Emperor Sigismund really has a follow-up to these men-at-arms.
Yeah. Do you think there's some still underestimated civs out there that could be like, game, like people don't use as often, but they would be super strong. Like, for example, I think Burmese is one that isn't used as often, but could be very strong. If you think about the wood upgrades, it's 150 extra resources once you get feudal because of the wood. And then what is it? 150, 250. It's like Ethiopians, maybe even stronger. You just don't get the archer, faster fire rate. But yeah, so do you think there's, like, for example, Celts? What are your thoughts for some hidden civs?
I think the dream scenario for anyone in a tournament series, especially a best of 7, where you're going to have a lot of picks, is you break an opponent top pick with a low pick. Another quick wall here from Khazra. A gate now from Khazra.
I'm getting deja vu here. Didn't this happen with the palisade?
It's true. He went full circle.
I know. I thought we rewinded. I was a bit worried for a second.
Okay, we've got very impressive quick walling from Khazra. I'm also noticing it's no pre-walling. Waiting to the last minute. Happy to do that. There's not many players who would do that. Now we have an archer getting attacked and pushed back by the man-at-arms, but the reason for this slam is because Khazra's got this ranged army, and Sigismund does not have much of a ranged army as well because he's gone for a lot of fire galleys. And I am very concerned for Sigismund because this ranged army is headed somewhere very important right now. And it is headed towards the villagers where we already have a tower. What a great play from Sigismund. But you got a wall in front of it. You got a wall in front of it. You got to notice. Oh, God. Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all, Slam.
Yeah. I like what you mentioned about like late walling, because I know Hera does that, doesn't he? Like when have watched his stream before and there's army moving in, I'm stressing out because I'm going, why isn't Hera walling? Why isn't he walling? But he just walls literally the last millisecond, and he does it very flawlessly and quick.
Hera and Viper both do that very, very well. And I noticed with Viper, it's almost like the more confidence he has or the more wins he has in the particular series, the longer he will wait before he places that wall. I don't think he'd ever admit it, but I think a small part of it for him is like, oh yeah, I just did that. Like he wants the opponent to feel his strength, you know? Because I definitely would.
For a little while, I'm like, man, could Blue be Hera? Because when I saw him micro the single archers, Hera also has a tendency to know the name of each unit. You know, it's almost personal. So, like, because he controls everything. But there was a few moments where there was a little bit of, you know, idle time with the military. So now I don't know. It's always back and forth with thinking who these players are.
Well, that's where it's just funny to remind people these are top 16 players in the world. Any top player, like you look at the very best, guess what? They're doing a lot of things very well, but it's how consistently can they do it well? That's the biggest differentiator, right? There are some small things, there are some things we can look for, but everyone's really good. And, you know, I agree, like Khazra underneath that tower, that was a big problem. Lost that army, got distracted here, losing an archer, falling apart a little bit. The fire galleys for Sigismund clearly paying off in some other ways. And Slam, this area of the map, since you haven't seen a lot of games, actually super important because you can't just give up water and still cross over there with military and eco over time.
It reminds me of that one of the previous games where maybe it could have been Tato. I don't know. They're just constant demo ships, just in between the islands, and there was these vills going across. I remember laughing because I'm like, if you're those villagers, like who decides who goes first? You can see them, you know, at the shoreline, and it's like you just vote, and they were all walking across, and these demo ships were taking out one vill at a time.
Yeah, it's something that I think, you know, the first time I was like, okay, maybe it's just a normal player. The second time I thought Tato confirmed is a joke. The third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth time, like this guy was addicted to just tossing demos there. So that's what I was like. I could see the arguments for Tato.
Yeah. So the game is looking, you know, kind of even right now. So it looks like we are going to get into a longer game. What do you see coming out of these two civs, like later on in the game? Like Celts, I'm like, you think it's going to be Woad Raiders? I just don't see the civ that often. Same with Japanese. What kind of composition do you think is going to happen here?
So before that, I think Celts have an underrated ability to boom economically. I think that wood bonus is really underrated. And I think if this turns into the transitional play of like 3 TCs against 3 TCs, I mean, on this map, maybe even 4 and 5, I think Celts will get a massive eco lead that way. But I do worry for Celts long term if they try and go for Woads. Because the Japanese, their samurai wreck Woads. Now they can't, they're not as mobile as the Woads, but I've actually played that matchup a few times and know that samurai actually destroy that matchup pretty hard. So, I would say siege and a lot of infantry combined with that would probably make the most sense. So maybe something like champion, as weird as it sounds to say in 2024, something like champion onager or like heavy scorpion or something.
Yeah. Sometimes I guess the unit composition can also depend on, where you are in the game. Like if your score is a bit ahead, you get the sense you are ahead in eco. For example, I think Woad Raiders can work, right? So, I mean, obviously, if
Yep.
someone had no eco, anything could work. But yeah, if it's an even game, it's harder to tell. Woad Raiders you can't underestimate them, though. I thought once I could just build a massive Arbalisk to kill them. But
Hmm.
apparently, Arbalisks can die too if you get outnumbered because the Woads run so fast and they can just,
Yeah, it's true.
surround and they shred once they get underneath. So,
I know the KD's not the closest, but overall, this game has been very clean compared to other evacuation games. We've had 0 eco KDs on either side. Both players have had to build towers and quick wall and everything. They have the same castle age time, which is also incredible. And there's the second TC now for Khazrao, but I'm very excited to see how the rest of this game plays out. It feels like it could go on for a while, but then again, if you build the TC with no protection, the archers
oh
coming
boy.
across the map, the knight coming across the map could deny that here, Sigismund. Actually
Yeah,
catches
and
sight of that there, Slam. That's really big for him.
there's a lot of stone buildup too from Khazrao. So he'll throw down a TC or two. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a castle drop at some point.
Yeah. Oh, wow. He continued to build this TC after losing the skirms. That tells me he didn't notice that the skirms went down. And this TC will be denied by Khazrao. Emperor Sigismund reacts. Now, he has actually sent his army to the starting area, which his opponent was not expecting at all because he's so worried about expanding, which is, again, why this map is so freaking hard to play.
Yeah.
But a tower gets forced down. The skirms are still here. I think Khazrao comes up being in the better position after this.
Oh, definitely. And all that stone looks like it's actually going to be super beneficial here, like as we saw just from that quick tower. But that catch on Red's TC, like that could be pretty game changing. And that's an idle TC, 4 villas are gone, and map control at that one moment.
Okay, so Khazrao basically has used his Castle Age army to control the Greenland, and then you've got the starting area as the focus for Sigismund. So both players have problems because they don't really have enough to defend either area right now. That is, honestly, Slam, sometimes I think you have to simplify your game, and you just got to sit on that TC. Like, make him come to you if you're Khazrao. Don't leave. Don't give him an opportunity to sneak back over there.
And you'll find players too with archers picking off farms and such. Getting rid of buildings can be, that adds to your advantage too. So if he slowly picks away at that TC, Red may lose more resources if it gets destroyed.
I really like how in a game this messy, how good Khazrao has been at adding the farming eco. Sigismund as well has done a decent job. Finally, we got some siege. Now, this is bringing back some memories of some Huang games, some monks and some scorpions.
Yeah.
Oh, the micro from Khazrao goes in and kills the monk, though. Interesting stuff there. That was intentional from him.
Are these just conversions from Khazrao, or does he have an actual stable somewhere? Or where is he getting these knights from?
I believe he does have a stable.
Oh, okay.
It's too many things to look at right now, but he did drop the stable there. And there's going to be TC number 3 for him. Again, a very even game. Look at the KD. I mean, this game is so unbelievably close at the moment. The only real big thing I'd say is Sigismund's ahead in eco upgrades, but Khazrao's actually ahead in villagers because of denying the TC.
Yeah. Yeah. In the long run, though, what would you prefer? I think villagers will always be sort of. I mean, it's a small difference, but
yeah,
the villagers will definitely add up over time.
Oh, that was huge. Especially the ships will add up too if villagers are going to be passing over to the other side. I think I would prefer Khazrao's position. Yeah, I think having the TCs, you can always catch up with eco upgrades, but with vills, you're kind of limited at how quickly you can do certain things. And I'm really impressed with how Khazrao always seems to be prepared at this point. There converts the knight, immediately hops into the TC, for example, and has another monk prepared. I mean, Khazrao is already on 2 relics. This player is going for relics very early here.
Yeah. I'm curious about his stone count still. I really want to see something juicy here. I don't know if it will be. He doesn't have a whole lot of army out blue, so I mean, a forward castle might be a little bit more risky. Yeah.
Especially against Celts. I think if you want to go forward and drop a castle on Celts, you've got a death wish usually. But like,
Yeah. But
if you feel your most exposed area is where you started, that might be the spot for the castle. It's just so tricky because that also doesn't protect as much stone and gold and map that's going to be important to you later on. So I don't think there's really a correct answer. As with anything on evacuation, I think you just have to pick a decision that and know if you protect one area, another beautiful demo, where the other exposed areas are going to be.
yeah, and Khosrow still has fishing ships, I guess. Maybe 4 or I don't see the count. The red has 0. That's a little bit of a boost, especially with Japanese. That can add up over time. 3-4 minutes go by, and that's a chunk of food, which makes your Imperial Age that much quicker.
I like the pressure from Sigismund. He continues to try and find damage with these knights. Like, he's probably thinking he's still here with Vils because I'm still there with Vils. I got to get some damage in. So he's trying to raid. Unfortunately, every time he shows up, there seems to be something from Khosrow. And Khosrow is just thwarting every attack with some monks. More and more I look at this, the more I like Khosrow's position. But this game's definitely going to Imp Slam. So we might actually have a pure infantry battle in the Imperial Age.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see the unit compositions between these two civs. I really want to know if Red's going to go Woads. It just feels like, what kind of options do you have with Celts? Obviously, people will throw out the Pala idea, which Hera has done in the past. I don't think that would work here. So it's most likely
it was against Japanese.
It was.
Fun fact. Yeah, it was Celts against Japanese when it was Celt Paladin. And the Japanese player was going champion. So this is a pretty sick move, honestly.
Well, then. Yeah. That we'll see what happens then. But I do think it might be risky here. It just seems like it would be the surprise factor that would catch someone off guard. And sometimes that works. You go, why would Celts ever go Palas here? I'm not going Hell. I'm not going to open Helbs. And then you go Pala, and it could catch them off guard.
So there's one thing that, oh god, this is an important area. Oh geez, forward castle from Khosrow needs to go up. It needs to go up. If it doesn't go up, this could be horrible. This could be a doubt castle when Khosrow has the lead. We do see some villagers repositioning and walling to get into an area, and he just abandons the idea here, Slam. Disaster for Khosrow.
I was just going to say, too, that castle goes up, and that looked like the winning condition for Khosrow, because his imp time, full 2 minutes at least. Treb would have been out earlier, and that definitely switched up the game big time.
I'm just... Didn't we just vote that Dal played in the previous series? I'm confused, but I suppose that can happen to anybody, so we should move on.
D90, I've been throwing down doubt on paper for so many games now. Yesterday, previous set, I might just be obsessed with him. I don't know, but this might be the third set now where I've got doubt written down.
Yeah, I mean, I could see some of the out-of-the-box strategies being doubt. I could see the occasional failure with the castles being doubt. But despite the doubt, Khosrow is actually in a great position. He's going to have another castle here. He's going to be able to treb down the castle the Emperor Sigismund is building. And Sigismund has the real question of what army type does he commit to. And I think the only choice right now is Woads. You need something fast that can go in to snipe trebs. So I think Woads is the way, and Woads can actually work. I think Japanese cav archers are strong, but it does take time to mass them.
That's something I completely forgot about at this moment, was Japanese cav archers, and that's a thing now. There was a switch. Japanese got buffed in that sense. It was Bloodlines, was it? Or was it an extra
Bloodlines was Bloodlines was like 5 years ago, which for us is still new. But then recently, within the last year, they did get +2 attack against archers. So that is the recent change you're thinking of.
That's what I was thinking about. Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah.
So that's what we're seeing here from Japanese here. It's nice to see that they're more versatile. You can now go CA. I have noticed that in a lot of previous tourney games recently. It's nice to see.
Yeah, well, Bloodlines isn't in yet. Oh, it's actually on the way. These Woad Riders, even though they're not engaging against the CA, that alone right there is showing you what they can do. They can outmaneuver you and boom, get the raids in. Nice unit control there from Sigismund. Sigismund needs upgrades, though. Needs the elite upgrade, ideally. And needs more castles, because this castle is going to go down. A nice position here for Khosrow.
So I'm trying to put myself in Siggy's position here, and I'm thinking, okay, I see CA. What do I do next? And the first thing that comes to mind is, well, let's maybe get some onagers out on the field. But they take time, right? And they're kind of clunky and slow. So in my opinion, I just feel like Celts is in a tricky position here. They need time.
Ooh, we got Woad Raiders diving for the Trebs, and we have some immediate walls from Khosrow. Very well played. And yeah, I agree with you. Honestly, though, Slam, I think the big thing is you don't want to be too committed to this castle. On any other map, I think you work hard to hold this position, but you have eco behind this. You have good position still with 3 castles built. Just don't lose your Trebs here unnecessarily if you're Sigismund, and just wait for more.
I like the quick move there by Khosrow. I just threw up a TC, threw up a castle in behind. He's probably thinking, okay, I see Woads on the field. Trades may be coming in. I want to protect some eco.
Yeah. Still very curious to know, as those Woad Raiders one by one leave the box formation.
Oh boy.
I'm very curious to know if we're going to see Elite Samurai be the next click or Heavy Cav Archer, because I feel like you could kind of justify either right now if you're Khosrow. Ideally, you do both, but it's too expensive to do both with this economy right now.
Yeah, I really like this Civ matchup here, because it just, as the Celts player, I don't know what's best. I mean, it looks like Red's just continuously spamming more Woads, but I don't think that's going to be the answer in the long run here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing that I'm noticing, though, is Khosrow's doing an awful lot of reacting. Or a player who's so proactive and Empy's doing an awful lot of reacting to these Woad Raider raids. Elite Woad Raider is in. And, villagers have been picked off here or there. There's got to be some paranoia. And I could definitely see, if you have to send your army and your focus and your attention after Woads like this, I could see Emperor Sigismund finding some areas for damage. There's an immediate reaction from Khosrow, but this is what I mean, Slam. I could see these types of raids really adding up.
Yeah. So T90, I'm having a moment here as a spectator. I'm used to playing, and I'm about to say that the question that I always read so often, and now I finally understand. Why doesn't he just wall, right? Like, why doesn't he just wall? Just wall, stone wall there. These Woads can't get in anymore, right? But I'm actually starting to feel that. Whenever I heard that, I'm like, come on, we don't have time to do that. But now finally, I understand, because there's that little gap on the green island where they keep running through. Oh, man, a nice wall would look so good there.
It's a really good point. I agree with you. There's a lot of choke points. I think walling up the choke points is a really good idea. I also think the lack of a castle in the starting area for Khosrow, where the relics actually are, by the way, could be a problem. Yeah. Woad Raiders can continue to run through there. And oh my god, we've got a Scorpion and a Woad Raider and a Samurai battle in 2024 at a high rank. And it's going horribly for the
Samurai.
For somebody.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. I mean, Heavy Scorpion was a little late there. Not Dave. Sorry, Slam. Wrong Canadian.
Canadian.
But Sigismund wins. The Heavy Scorpion and the Woad Raiders made it happen.
Wow. What a great play. You know, I'm not saying this is Tato, but the Heavy Scorpion play I love to see, because you don't see it often. Celts, I guess, would push you in that direction maybe. But there's been some brilliant moves I've seen Tato do where he's gone Scorpions. I think maybe he was Mongols or something. I don't know, but it's just nice to see them come into play. You don't really see Heavy Scorpions that often.
Yeah, it is one of the rare situations where I think it really made sense. And I love this from Sigismund. This is what the best players do. They win a fight and they say, oh, okay, you're going to prep for me here? That's really cool. I'm going right back here because you didn't wall, you fool.
He didn't wall.
And Exactly. You didn't wall. You have no castle at home. And I think Khosrau could lose all of his. Oh God. Oh, no. They're trying to meet up with their friend. Oh, it's going to be a massacre slam. An absolute massacre.
This is worse than the demos. At this point, I'd be so frustrated. I would just want to throw away that island. I would just, you know, I'm that rough looking island is just like, there's nothing on there. It's just a drag.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Don't worry about it. Honestly, maybe that's what he's doing. He's allowing those villagers to get slaughtered. But here, the heavy scorpions with Fuhrer Celtica, by the way, so they have the extra HP. Yeah. They're going to town, and the elite Woad Raiders from Celts taking out the starting TC from Khosrau. Wow. And Khosrau does not know what hit him right now.
I'm actually super surprised. This whole game, I thought Khosrau, it's going to be his. I can't see Celts coming up with a great answer within the time window that they needed to to kill. But Scorpions was excellent. I didn't even. It's a great move. I kept thinking Onagers.
Yeah, I mean Celt ETC, Celt E Tower at this point. By the way, Celts were only played one time in the entirety of the qualifier. This is a strategy that Sigismund saved for this moment. And the key right now is that his trebs continue to be massed. If he's taking out castles and taking these positions, building his own castles, that's how he wins this game. And the GG is just called. Oh my goodness. Sigismund ties it up here. And what a response from himslam.
Great move. Again, now that I think of it, Japanese... It's a civ that doesn't get bomb, like they get onagers, they don't get bomber cannons. But bomber cannons, usually you get chemistry at some point, and they're great at picking off scorpions. So in that moment, Celts was looking super good because how are those scorpions going to die? And it takes time to get onagers going.
Yeah, I think Khosrau was also really caught between two minds. Initially wanted to go for the Cav Archers, but then, and we see the ranged units here. I mean, Emperor Sigismund had to recover massively in this game, but I think that we never saw heavy Cav Archer. We never saw a lot of them. I think part of that was because of the threat of the Woad Raiders. This was a big moment, though, Slam. Khosrau maybe needed a little bit more army to protect those villagers coming forward, building the castle.
Yeah, that was probably a big swing moment there because, as mentioned, Blue had that up. We would have had more control of the land, and then he'd be up earlier and he'd be able to get that treb out.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, Blue did a good job of focusing down the Scorpions. Actually, that was all right before the heavy Scorpion upgrade. But once the heavy Scorpion upgrade was in, I mean, good luck and goodbye to the Samurai there. So that's an exciting one because when we looked at the draft, we thought that Sigismund would be a player who would be more comfortable on some of the newer maps. And then we also pointed out how epic it was that in game number 1, that Khosrau used a late pick to beat a top pick. And now look at this. We have in the same draft positions, we had Sigismund breaking the number 1 pick of Khosrau with the Celts versus Japanese. That is amazing. Ooh, okay. So people were mentioning Yo is obsessed with the Romans. Doubt also obsessed with the Romans. And I think this is the first time we've seen Romans drafted and the first time we've seen Romans picked so far in Hidden Cup 5 main event. Sigismund won with the Celts the previous game. Now has Romans in this game. So another unique pick. And we've got the Lithuanians on the side of Khosrau on high tides. Now, this is technically like new and improved high tides. It's like if high tides got a remodel. So I want to point out what the differences are if we could take it off Fog of War, because in the previous Hidden Cup, we had this map and there was the fish in the north. That's still there. We did make it easier for players to get the fish. There's shore fish along the shoreline, which we didn't have as much of in the previous game or previous tournament, rather. In the south, we added more stone and gold there. And then the shore fish, there's 4,000 food of shore fish down there. There's also hunt. So in the only other game I remember from this, we had one player winning the water in the north. We had another player focusing on the hunt and the shorefish in the south. And like all these maps, Slam, you got to scout and you got to decide on what is best for you. And I honestly think they could go either way.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the civs. I see Lithuanians. That makes sense to me, right? They can go onto wood, or they get the extra food at the start. Going onto water is a little bit more efficient. But Romans, I never know where they fit in. Maybe part of the problem is I don't have the civ currently. But if
Did you
you
really
know a
not have
little,
the Civ?
no, I'm not. I need to double check. I'm pretty sure I have Romans, but I'm curious if you could expand on what Romans are good at, especially in a map like this.
Okay, and then maybe if you don't, maybe with like the caster pay, you could buy the DLC, and the tips that I give you can help you in your next tournament, maybe or ranked game. Okay, so where Romans can be insanely strong is with their infantry, because they get for every armor upgrade they get, it counts as double. So that's strong. And I could see why that would be something Sigismund would be in love with, right? But I think what the best players with Romans are realizing right now is the 5% greater efficiency bonus on all their villagers is just really strong eco bonus, and it applies to everything. Yeah. So this is really good for like low elo legends out there, because it's like, no offense, guys, you struggle with everything, but if everything is improved, that's really nice. It's not like specific to Mongols with hunt or like Britons with the sheep or whatever. So you could just play them standard, Slam. I don't think you have to do anything crazy with them. I think playing in towards scouts and spears is your typical play, so you could treat them maybe like Slavs. And I think if you play in towards heavy knights with the Romans, you force your opponent into pikemen, and then you have the double armored longswords. That's kind of the dream scenario. So that's how I would foresee Sigismund wanting to play this particular game.
Yeah, I see. So Tinani, as for the addition to the bottom, I did watch this map a little bit in one of the previous sets. Can you build down there? I'm still not sure about that. Like, can you put foundations on that?
When you mean like, can you build mining camps around there?
Yeah, but see, there's some rocky terrain there.
You can build there. Yeah, it's not always the easiest, right? You're not going to have like your dream mining camp at times, so you are going to be picking and choosing certain locations. The other area around the water where the shorefish are, that's standard terrain, so you should be able to build mills and whatnot there.
I think what I'm actually thinking is, can a castle be get, because that's a perfect place for a castle, as the bottom area. It's a lot of hills. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what I was,
I honestly I can't tell you, Slam. I've never seen that area prioritized much beyond the Castle Age, because most of the games that I've seen in testing, and then the one game we've seen in the main event, the game has not gone on past early Castle Age. This is a very quick one. Okay. Very likely that you're going to get punished through the middle of the base. Very likely you're going to get punished on water. So the players who are most comfortable in those scenarios, the ones that think they can punish quickly, they're going to be the ones that pick this, which would be Khosrau in this case, because this is his home map.
Yeah, so look at Lithuanians, or Khosrau. He is up so much earlier. Oh, not so much, but enough to maybe get the fire ship out early here. And my guess is with Red's barracks going up, he's just saying, I'm just going to commit to water just a little bit. I'm up against Lithuanians. They're usually up quicker. They usually end up winning early fire ship situations. And he's actually got a beautiful deep fish by his dock. So he's going to get everything he wants out of that. Blue will go a fire ship, will clean up, and then red will be onto land.
Interesting. Surprisingly, Romans have a positive win rate. Yeah, I mean, it really just depends on the maps, too, when you look at civilizations. I got to tell you, though, it's never good, Slam, if you're going men-at-arms without vision on where your opponent is, and without that scout to block for you there. And that find from Khosrau was amazing. The faster feudal age has paid off for him. And I'm expecting a fire galley as well. And while that is from both players, if this becomes an extended fire galley war, just remember that there's no demos available to the Romans. So if you really fall behind on water with the Romans, you're usually out of luck.
Yeah, I'm loving Khosrau's position right now. Obviously, he's got the scout kill that you mentioned. Finding that scout when you're up early is such a good feeling. It's just like your uptime has paid off in so many ways. On water, You got sort of map control now. I don't know if Khosrau saw the militia coming out.
I agree. I don't think he did. I mean, he definitely didn't because he didn't pre-wall anything. But the man-at-arms are going to go there.
I wonder if he's going to bot. Okay. I thought, man, I had this feeling where if blue was Hera, there was a potential to gate those man-at-arms in there. I could just sense that could have been a Hera moment.
Little trap.
Yeah, it didn't happen. Therefore, we can confirm that Khosrau is not Hera 100%.
100%. All right, you heard it here first, folks. Remember that when we do the votes. I think there is a villager hammering away for Sigismund on the fire. No, there's not, actually. The villager's building a house. It feels like right now Sigismund is trying to transition fully towards land. So, Khosrau with the better start here. Khosrau defending already. Just opening with skirms, which is kind of interesting. It's not going to end up being bad because the opponent is going into archers, but I really like the start for Khosrau.
Mind the early skirms, especially Lithuanians. They're gonna move a little quicker, and it kind of confuses your opponent a little bit because you're seeing skirms and you go, oh, okay, well normally I transitioned into archers right after man-at-arms, so maybe what will happen is red will go archers, and maybe he might add a stable for the skirms at some point.
This is where having a demo would be huge. Right there where the repair vills are, right there in that choke point. Like, not having a demo is painful. And then Sigismund just checked that out. He's like, is anyone down there taking resources? Apparently not. Yeah, we'll see if he considers doing it. But so far, no one feels like the South is actually worth it for them.
So what civs are we normally seeing on this map that you've seen in previous matches? So Lithuanians makes sense. I could see Biz maybe working well here. I don't know if anyone's chosen Biz yet.
The other game we had was Malians against I forget Slam, but I would say civs that Byzantines would be fantastic. I think Malians could be amazing here. The Malay could be really good. Persians possibly. A lot of like any hybrid civ.
Has Malay even been picked yet, or has it always been banned? Because I don't think I've seen Malay.
Malay's been banned every single draft. Yeah, so it's it's tricky when there's 5 bans on both sides now after a long qualifier where Malay did so well. It seems like no one wants the Malay to be available at this point. So
I find that so interesting. Because Malay, they did get the buff with the infantry, right? But I don't think they were picked as much in the past. So I don't know if it's so much the buff that they got, or people have just realized over time that the quick uptime with Malay is just so nice.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think people got really good with the timing slam. And Khosrau, I know that doesn't seem like a lot has happened in this game, but Khosrau has had his timings perfect. He had his timings in defense. He's doing... Oh, he's actually falling behind on water. I take it back. But he is aware that villagers are trying to take food down here towards the south. And like, Sigismund, I know it's just skirms, dude, but you gotta get out of here. Because you're going to have some losses there soon. Also, a big demo just happened on the fires. There's so much happening right now, Slam.
Yeah, this is a crazy map. Like, you got the north, you got the middle. Obviously, you're always going to check to see if your opponent has gone down south where the hunt is, as Khosrau has done. And I'm actually really shocked at how many fire ships Siggy has. I don't know where they came from. When I saw all of them, I'm like, oh, he's got 2 docks. But I think it's just still 1 dock. Maybe Blue just decided to give up on water.
All right, Slam, how many of these villagers survive?
3.
3?
Actually, they're far. Wait. Oh, okay, I gotta.
You can't go back now.
I know I'm committing.
3. Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna see.
As soon as I said that, he went AFK for a second. Well, okay, not AFK. That's not polite. He was focusing somewhere else. Yeah. Okay. So how many went down?
Well, thank you for clarifying that, because I don't want a player to reach out and say T90 stop inviting Slam to cast, because that'd be disappointing. But you know what we have right now is we have additional man-at-arms from Sigismund with armor. So I said, yeah, people don't really go for the infantry. No, he's going for the infantry right now, and he's going all in.
Yeah, and I said scouts too, so I'm like, it makes sense now with Romans. They get the extra armor early. Is it okay? Never mind. I was going to ask a question, but I do know it because I know the Civ.
Okay. Well, was it? Were you asking if it was double armor or in feudal?
What? Yeah, it's double armor. Same cost though, right? Yeah, as far as I recall, it's the same cost.
Same cost. Yep, same exact cost.
Good. They kept that the same. Good. Okay.
Yeah. So 6 Man-at-Arms, a tower now here from Sigismund. I'm very concerned for Sigismund. Like, and Khazra seems very unconcerned. He's like, oh, you're going to tower the 12 trees that I have there. Oh, darn. Let me just relocate to another wood line and use my resources to plan for Castle Age while you don't. I think Sigismund's plan here was to get a bigger lead than he has right now. And if knights end up coming in from Khazra and Castle, this could be trouble.
So I have been able to mass many archers against these Roman man-at-arms in feudal age, and they just don't die. And I'm just seeing skirms here, and I'm thinking this is going to take a lot of micro. There's going to be a lot of energy going into running and hitting. But these skirms are actually not doing too bad.
I guess when you get to a certain number, even if you're doing 1 damage, it's still something against a unit that doesn't have that much HP, right? So that plus the added mobility. But there, Sigismund just wanted to complete the tower. And, you know, Sigismund does complete the tower. We'll see what he does. There's going to be knights out from Khazra. Khazra can expand in other ways, but it is a nice little position. And I could see a player like Yo, for example, like certain players, if they get a position on you, they will not give it up. And it could be a problem later on.
Yo does like Romans, does he not? I remember picking him in a previous tourney once, so therefore he must love them. But
no, multiple. No, you're right. It's spot on there.
Okay.
Yeah, Yo. I've been calling them the Yeomans for a while because he picks them so frequently. So nice. I don't think that's crazy at all. Nice attempt here from Sigismund to defend the villagers, but the knights are here. The villager runs away. I could definitely see Yo prioritizing Romans on his draft.
Yeah, I do love, though, how Siggy has been microing these man-at-arms just back and forth, just to get these towers up. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to pay off because Blue's been up so early. Now he's got knights out.
Yeah, nice job there with the knights. Also, I like the timing on the second town center, especially with Lithuanians. When you get the extra food, you just want to toss those things up as quickly as possible. Water is pretty much lost at this point for Khazra. The tower is going to go up here. But the Skirm Knight army from Khazra could do so much damage because you can't go spear defense right now if you're Sigismund.
One thing I've noticed about many recent maps is how the deep fish distribution is a little bit less in some maps and a little bit further out, which means that it kind of balances it a little bit. So, you know, if you win water, it's not like you're going to be flooded in deep fish everywhere. So players won't commit more. Whereas I know back in the past, there'd be maps with a lot more deep fish. So you'd get a huge advantage as soon as you'd win water. There's something about the way that Sigismund walled here and how calm he was in this situation and just how many moments Sigismund says, I don't care about micro. I could actually see this being Yo. And according to the viewer polls anyways, we haven't seen Yo yet. Now, some people thought maybe he had played Doubt in the previous series, but I'm definitely feeling like this could be. Obviously, it could be anybody, but just based on how certain things have played out here, Sigismund definitely has some Yo vibes. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to take a look at some of the upcoming games too, because I know when you and Dave were casting the one earlier, you know, I think it was the first game we saw Spanish, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's Yo, it's on Arena or whatever.
Yeah, true.
Closed map, and I'm like, oh, it's Yo. So yeah, again, maybe I have to take a look at the Civ draft. I don't know if Red
what about
Spanish
Yo? What about Yo Sito? Yo Sito, Yo Emperor Sigismund, Sito Khazra. Sito's in amazing shape, loves his land maps, lands a lot on islands. Really nice kills there from Khazra. Khazra's got a pretty nice lead, but yeah, that's just where my brain is at right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see the Civ draft again. What's funny is there's been some times in the past where I've been up against Sato, and every Civ that I've wanted, he's wanted. So I'm curious
Yeah.
once I see the draft again, if I look at each Civ and I go, oh man, I
Oh,
love
look
that
at the
Civ.
trap! The trap from Khazra Viper confirmed!
Beautiful.
Not only does he trap these knights, but he's got monks lined up with conversions, so it's either join us or be killed, and the other guy refuses to join and prefers to die. But wow, what a move there from Khazra. A 20 villager lead, 2 relics with Lithuanian knights, and this, I mean, it went from being close to not being close at all here, Slam.
Yeah, and this type of map too, it just looks like knights are just going to do so well. You think Romans, and you're like, oh, infantry, maybe some infantry, just get some pikes out or something. But I don't think that's going to really stop any of that because there's just so many areas to raid. You got your south. There's just no way to wall this map.
Yeah, it's really tough. Look at this 4th TC now. Oh no, I can't wait. No, it's 4 TCs. Very early 4th TC here from Khazra, who has quite an expansive farming eco, in all honesty. Has 3 relics, like we said. And this is now the problem. If you're trying to go pikes against Lithuanians, and their knights have soon what could be +4 attack, how are you supposed to be able to even counter them with pikemen?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a chance here. Even look at the eco difference, too. I don't know how Blue got so far ahead. I didn't even see it. And a 5th TC now. He loves this Lithuanian TC bonus.
Wow. So that's 2 minutes and 30 seconds of idle TC time in this entire game for Khazra. After getting hit on water, getting hit with the man-at-arms. Lots of aggression happened, but Khazra's just made a lot of this look very easy. That's going to be relic number 5. These are some early relics, people. This is like, some people are going to get 3, but they're going to be like, okay, I go out and fight now. But some players are a little bit greedier with their relics.
Yeah, and at this point, you can just literally keep snowballing these knights with all that attack, and it just, you'll pretty much take out anything at this point.
Okay, so that TC right there, you see that? That TC from Sigismund is I didn't practice a lot for Hidden Cup TC, in my opinion. I don't think it's bad. But, like, there is some level of energy from Sigismund. It's like the Celts pick, some of the approach, some of the other civs I'm seeing I don't love. I'm just like, I wonder who this is. I'm very curious to find out afterwards how disrespectful this is going to come off, but it's an interesting decision to drop. I think it was 2nd TC on that food there.
I hope this red wasn't the same player I used you know what?
AFK thing.
That TC, if Blue wanted to, obviously we can see everything, so it's all nice and easy to make calls. But I think sending all those knights down there, you could just wipe that thing right out.
Yeah, I agree. Or you could just wipe out the pikemen, or you could just castle drop it. Here we go, Khazra waiting with villagers. Villagers want to drop a castle on the hill there. Needs a little bit of help, so is going to buy the stone. Knights get in here. More villagers dying. It's a 50 villager lead for Khazra, who kills that monk. Is going to drop the castle now, and we might be moments away from GG. That could easily be a GG castle right there.
Yeah, I love how the game turned out super well for Khazra.
Yeah, he did such a sick job. Like, the Man-at-Arms accomplished very little. It's supposed to create a stressful game, but it didn't seem like Khazra felt phased at all. His transitions economically on land were just perfect. And in the conclusion of that one, was about to have all 5 relics. Also had 5,000 more res collected. And he made it look very, very easy there. Well played. Wow, look at this. We've got Aztecs Bohemians Hidden Forts game number 4. And StatsGuy was prepared. Neither Aztecs or Bohemians have been played in the main event yet. So we have the showdown happen now. This is the home map of Emperor Sigismund as he looks to tie this up. And I could see both civs being awesome here. But let's talk about what the options are on this map, because it's so complex. You have the outer resources where there's plenty of wood, there's some stone, there's some gold. But then with the food, a lot of players have prioritized chopping through to the middle, to the area which is somewhat shaped like the Batman symbol. You can chop through. You could take rhinos. We've seen up to 7 or 8 rhinos collected from a single player against a player who doesn't chop through at all and who simply prefers to take their sheep and their cows. Slam. So I take it you probably haven't played any games on this because this is new. Do you have a gut feeling here, Slam, on if there's an approach that's better than others, or is it still all up in the air for you two?
Yeah, I would love to talk about this map. So I did watch that set earlier, and you guys noted how the player getting the rhinos actually didn't necessarily have an advantage in eco. I think it was. I think they're up against Bengalis. I'm not sure. Maybe it's good with power. Yeah, maybe with power spikes and things like that. Yeah, I haven't played this map at all. I did come across an idea. I don't know if it's it could. I mean, I'll just throw it out there. I know you mentioned pudding about the Lithuanians, and in one of the previous Battle of Africa maps, I remember tourneys. I remember mentioning and testing that you can actually send 2 Vils to wood with almost any civ and still upkeep your food intake underneath the TC. Well, some civs maybe not, but you can actually send 2 Vils immediately. With that being said, I came across the idea of, well, what if someone Armenians and then sent you built the cart right there. It's a little tight to keep the food going. You cut through with 2 Vils, and then you send the cart over to the other side, and the mule cart actually takes up 1 tile. I couldn't move Vils across this, so you can actually use the mule cart as like a palisade wall.
Ah, so you want to? Are you saying use the mule cart to block the opponent's entry?
Yes. So I tested it, and yeah, you throw 2 Vils on wood. You'll be a little tight on getting food. But you should be able to do it. You upkeep your villager production, and once you cut through, what's nice with the mule cart is you can shove it right in the next spot, so the villagers never have to move. And then you cut through, and then you bring your scout through, and you go right to the other side, and then you plant your mule cart right in front of the tile in which the enemy villagers would need to get out.
Well, I mean, that makes sense.
I don't know. Is that a little too out there? I mean, no, that could be a good reason why I didn't qualify.
No. I mean, this wasn't in the qualifier map pool. So, I mean, had it been, you probably would be in the main event, but then we'd be down a caster. So, I mean, that would be horrible for everybody. So thank God.
Yeah, I forgot to add too. The mule cart then, since it's out there, it can take in food from rhinos if you want. So you can send some villagers out there, and you got everything out there.
That's where I thought you were going. I thought you were saying, that whole intro about the mule cart, saying that you could use the mule cart to go into the middle and take the hunt. But no, you're going to use the mule cart as a wall, which I don't mind. But I guess it brings us back to kind of question number 1. It's like, is it that big a deal if you don't have the middle on this map in the first place? And my feeling is it might not be. Now, it's still early, but both the players have initially lumber camped in a way where they're not rushing to the middle. So Sigismund, he actually placed his initial lumber camp on an area with 3 lines of trees. He's not directly cutting through. And then Khosrau lumber camped the outside with the hunt, he lumbered the outside with more wood and then lumber camped the middle later. So, I love it, Slam, how not only do you have a map where there's not an established meta in the main event, but I got to keep coming back to the fact that these 2 players aren't playing with the information that we have about how everyone else played it, because this round was played behind closed doors. So they are all going to have different opinions on it. And this is yet again a different matchup. We had almost in every other game, we had one player immediately cutting through the middle to go for the rhinos. Here, both players have delayed it. And we never had an archer opening. Now we have an archer opening from Sigismund. This is amazing to me.
Oh boy, yeah. So as soon as he cuts through that wood, that's actually a really great idea, because, I mean, are players ever expecting military to come through the middle once they've cut through?
Yeah. So I've seen scouts that way. So like sometimes what people will do is you'll see the scouts kind of wait for the opponent to cut and try and pounce, but more often than not, it's like, yeah, actually, Slam, archers could be really smart if you cut through quickly, because you could actually then sit archers behind the wood line. The more I think about it.
Yeah, overall, Bohemians on a closed map, I think, is just super deadly. I'm not sure why they haven't been picked more often on this map. Maybe they've been banned or used somewhere else, but it does seem like a nice, straightforward pick because they have a tendency to do super well in more closed maps.
Yeah, interesting. So I see people asking, because I bring up this point, I want to clarify. People are like, okay, we get it, how the round of 16 was played. What about the quarters? The quarters are also completed before any games were covered. So pretty much right before day one of Hidden Cup is when the quarters would have completed based on the schedule. Obviously, if there's an issue with scheduling, you know, someone breaks a leg, they need to go to the hospital. Okay, that's extreme. Hopefully no one broke a leg. But the quarters will be the same, where the people go into the quarters having not seen what their opponents did in the first round. The exception will be the semis will be played live. At that point, the players will have seen what their opponent did, have that intel, and then, of course, the final. But I think that's important to bring up because I think it adds value to the aspect of Hidden Cup. And right now, Khazrao knows his opponent is going archers, is expecting the archers, and finds the archers here with the eagle.
Yeah, I was curious if Khazrao actually spotted that, and it does look like he did. And it is nice to see, you know, a player being a little bit more open on their side. From all the games I've seen, people will wall off of palisades and just stay in that bubble, and then kind of boom. So, yeah, this is a bit more of a unique game compared to what I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, eventually here we could see all these armies actually have some value towards the middle, but for now, they're not through yet. I actually think Sigismund just made it through. I'm seeing some movement. Okay, just made it through. Okay, he's going to get the Rhino. Good luck doing this and microing your archers at the same time, buddy. He's got to do it. Running back with the archers. Rhino's going in underneath the TC simultaneously. There he is. Good job. Weakening the Rhino with the TC. Nope, not doing it. He's got it anyway, Slam. And I think he also has an archer behind the wood line, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. I do see that as well. I would like to say that, you know, going into some matches, when you see certain civs, it may alter how a player will play the game. So, you know, the Bohemian for Siggy, he'll go and he sees Aztecs and he may think, well, I don't want Aztecs to get the relics, so let's build a unit that can maybe go on the outside. Sometimes it's scouts, right? But yeah, it can definitely change the game a little bit, you know, versus a game where Bohemians may just wall and just boom and go for a fast stamp.
Yeah, that was a nice save there from Sigismund. The Rhino did not cooperate. So Slam, that's a great point. Archer now is going to be used to bring in the Rhino. That's pro strategies here from Emperor. This is a first. All right. I think they're the same speed, so hopefully that archer doesn't trip or stumble. Okay, should be okay. Good
the whole
stuff.
time I was thinking, can this archer just quickly build to slow it down? I'm so used to it being a Vil.
So we thought that some of the tendencies from Sigismund would be very Yo-like. Picking Celts, maybe being a little underprepared for high tides because it's newish. Bohemians is another classic Yo pick. He's obsessed with Bohemians and picks them all the time. So if you're thinking guesses, people, I do not think that we can discount Mr. Yo being Emperor Sigismund.
Yeah, and Bohemians, like I've said, there's so much gold in the middle. You can make so many mistakes, but as long as you have a market and your gold income, it's just you can just abuse the market with so much gold that comes in.
Yeah, and player safety is our biggest priority here in Hidden Cup. I'd like to reiterate that. Sorry about the leg break joke. Sigismund focusing on the middle. You know, Slam, your instinct when you have a middle position with all this gold is to go for a siege push, to go for a monk push. But if there's still trees there, I guess you just can't push at all then, right?
Yeah, it is annoying because you know, if blue does cut through, there's going to be one little gap you can get through, which he can wall, but he didn't even cut through. So I guess it's just a game where Bohemians, you just go for your snowball, whatever that may be, and just mass it. And late game, if you want, the the wood line is skinny enough that you could just use a Treb if you want to cut through if needed, but I guess the only other way is through an Onager.
So every game that I've seen so far with the Villagers Week, nice save. Every game that I've seen so far where one player takes the Rhinos and then the other player does not, the player who's not taking the Rhinos has more res collected, which is I find very interesting. So that's like 3 times, maybe 4 times now. I guess the food does help you afford different things, but still, at least based on res collected stat, that's what we're seeing.
It really makes you think about sort of villager efficiency too. So it's like maybe there's some inefficiency when it comes to focusing on luring a boar and such. So it's sometimes why a player may steal someone's boar, but that player is not necessarily out of the game. If they keep their eco efficient and balance it out, you know, it's not the end of the world. But that is an interesting stat to bring up, because I would still think if you have like 8 rhinos or something, you know, you're going to be ahead somewhere.
Yeah. I'm getting some Yo and ACCM vibes the more I watch this in terms of strategy. We had instant chemistry from Sigismund. He wants to go for hand cannons here in Castle Age, which could be devastating. But it would be so much stronger if he could use the gunpowder directly next to his opponent's TCs. But because the trees aren't chopped, he's actually going to have to use this surprise and go the outside direction. Actually, fun fact here, Slam, if Khazra's looking at those archers, he will know chemistry's in because of the fire on the arrows. So that could actually give him an idea
good point.
that the hand cannons are going to be coming.
Yeah, a player's got to be on point to do that. And like I could see how Khazra would miss that, because, you know, those archers have been shooting there for forever now. It's like, oh, you know, let's go click on them again. So it is a good point, but you know, the player needs to see it.
He's trying to chop through. Sigismund wants to chop through. He's bringing Vils. He wants to attack through the middle. So he's bringing Vils. Now, Khazra's made an outpost which only shows those other 3 Vils. But there's 90 wood remaining there. That's going to take some time. I love this. So what should happen now, if Khazra sees this, is fortified wall. You got to wall that stuff up. You can't let him get through. And yeah, he's walling up already.
Wow. And I was going to say with red, I mean, that's a long way back to lumber camp. Maybe he could click on the gold and it drops it off. But you know what? As you mentioned, blue is on top of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a little back and forth either way. So I guess you can prevent the walls if you have the gunpowder there. But great job from Khazra to recognize this. Khazra's building up a nice little eco lead here. 4 TCs. Khazra's also getting a lot of the relics on the outside. So Sigismund's insistence on pushing through the middle hasn't come with enough reward for me so far. The Aztecs getting 33% more gold per relic is insane. He's going to have maybe all 5 relics soon, Mr. Khazra.
Yeah, you're correct. I think that's where Red's making the mistake with, you know, that investment. I really think Bohemians is just going to be strong as they are if you just hold the middle. Blue's going to feel a bit panicky later, knowing that all the gold's in the middle. So if you're going for that long in fight, and Bohemians is castles and everything in the middle. So I understand what Red was trying to do, but I mean, it may put him at a disadvantage now.
Archer gets converted, some villagers go down, and Khazra is microing the archer. He just converted like a nerd, and he kills the other archer. Does run into the TC here, though. But Khazra's like, you're not coming to my base, dude. And this monk is trying to get home because the hand cannons are coming. Run! Run!
You know, whatever I said about Red and the investment, now that these bad boys are here, like, okay, it is actually looking a bit intimidating now, and it may pay off.
It's so true. It's so easy for us to
deal
be
with
like,
those guys. I know.
Yeah, it's so easy to be like, he's not doing anything. And then when we see it, we're like, oh, yeah, I kind of forgot about this is hand cannons in Castle Age here. I would really like to see long-term, like, if this goes late, and wow, Khazra was ready to convert. Did you see that? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see Stonewall.
Did you see how those were approaching? He's probably...
Yeah, right?
His fingers are just, like, shaking right now with how that monk went down.
Well, so there's a couple players that I would say that are the best with monks when it comes to more than like 4, right? You got Ganji, who's actually my number 1. You got Barles, who's always a good shout. And then you got MBL for me. Those 3. So the boom, 1, 2, 3. That's not quite to the Ganji level I would expect. I'd expect all those monks to be on a different target. So I don't think this is telling us anything, sorry, but you still have to think about it.
Yeah, to number monks.
Oh god, the monks are getting shot down, Slam. Sorry to interrupt, but you looked away for a second.
No worries. Yeah.
Painful.
Let's see how this goes.
Split micro, siege goes down, monks are on the move. The idea was to use the monks to convert the siege that's coming in so the skirms could work. That'll be a bit tricky. Khazra with a 20 villager lead, has 4 relics, has the eco lead, goes for the conversion here, doesn't get it. Good micro from Khazra, though, against the Mangonel, still making skirms and still making monks.
Man. Yeah, HC, or hand cannoneers at this age, it's just such a powerful unit. It reminds me of Conks as well, right? Just one of those units that just are ridiculous in Castle Age.
Oh man, he's desperate for the conversion here, and he didn't get the conversion on the siege, but he did in the end clear all this up, which is what he wanted to do anyways. So maybe a good opportunity to drop a castle just to make sure this doesn't get too crazy.
Yeah, and that score difference, I don't know why it is so big. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of a villager difference. Oh, actually, there's actually considerable villager difference there, but still, I mean, blue is just skyrocketing with score here.
Yeah, I think you've got a couple extra technologies researched for Khazra, more vills. The resource income's looking pretty solid, but I mean, Imp is on the way right now for Sigismund. And it probably will be for Khazra as well.
Yeah. What does it look like for Aztecs here on out? Like going into Imp, you know, Bohemians has got a great snowball of units. You know, you got, hand cannoneers, you got bombard cannons, or hoof knights. I'm curious what kind of composition you want to go for with Aztecs here.
Slam, I'm going to blow your mind when I answer this.
I can't wait.
Right? It's just monks and skirms, nothing else. What do you think about that?
That's great. I like that. I really do. But with as that's what blue is doing, right?
Yep.
But Bohemians infantry is not too bad though,
it sucks.
Is it? It sucks.
I'm pretty sure they. I thought they had champion. Actually, I think they do maybe have champion. Okay. So let me tell people why I said this. I've seen this matchup on Arena like a dozen times. And Skirm Monk, you have the monks to convert the cannons. You have skirms, which are superior against any of the ranged units the Bohemians are going to add. The Bohemian Cav is not good enough to beat the strong Aztec skirms. And then the champions get in the mix, and you mix in add like 5 jags and get a couple conversions, and suddenly you're winning the fight anyways. I actually think this is a really good matchup for Aztecs long term.
Okay, yeah. I love how they're all setting up in the middle now with the castles, but that dreaded wood line is just going to be so annoying for red and blue. A knight.
Well, what's interesting is that if a Treb is on the way or a Bombard Cannon's on the way for Sigismund, he will have the edge in the initial Treb war here. And he is making a Bombard Cannon immediately. So it's very likely that we will have the situation we mentioned where like Sigismund has all the gold in the middle, and then Khazra has the outside, but has the relics.
Yeah, and yeah, if red keeps that in mind, yeah, there may be some annoying monks that may come out, but they're eventually going to, dwindle out a little bit here because of the lack of gold.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, if 4 relics is still not going to be enough to compare with all the gold income that the Bohemians are going to have towards the middle. Now, I don't think Sigismund sees that castle right now. I think he actually sees the outpost, but not the castle. I could be wrong, but he must be missing it because he's not targeting it right now. Yep, doesn't see it. Sees the Vills trying to chop through. Bombard cannons can take down entire cities, but they cannot take out a tiny tree. So there's no risk here in doing that.
super nice for Siggy, just the instant Bombard Cannon right into Imp, because he got that early chemistry with Bohemians, which you can get in Castle Age, obviously.
Yep. This will be interesting. There's no... I was thinking maybe some stone walls on the side would be helpful. If you're pushing middle, you don't want a headache from the sides, but the headache is coming from both sides, and these will be Atlatl skirms, so they have extra range, extra attack, very hard to deal with anything Sigismund has available right now. And Khazral has positioned his trebs wonderfully on the side of his own castle. And he's trebbing that castle, and the Bombard Cannon from Sigismund can't do much in the middle without getting converted by monks.
Yeah. I feel like it's that... I keep mentioning that wood line, but if that wood line wasn't there, I think Bohemians would maybe, you know, be able to push or be much more efficient at, you know, making ground here.
Yep.
Maybe not, actually, because those monks keep coming out and they keep converting those Bombard Cannons.
Couple knights there from Sigismund. He wants to go knights against the skirms, but it feels like desperation if you're going for some knights here with the Bohemians. The skirms are doing so much damage. Sides are still open. Khazral's at 200 pop. Khazral's ability to macro slam is insane.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like he had a slight lead before, then it turned into a solid lead of 20 vils. Now he's 40 vils ahead? Like, what in the world is this?
You know, yeah, I don't know. I was thinking, like, because sometimes Hera can do some... I mean, Hera can really make use of any unit, to be honest, but sometimes he's very good with skirms and early imp and everything. And I thought him, he's like, oh, could this be Hera still? And I'm thinking, that could still be a stretch. I have no idea, but I just want to pick a name and be right. T90, I'm getting... I just want to know. So one of these players.
Yeah, well,
right
I mean, according to the votes, we saw Hera on day 1, but we hadn't seen Leary, we hadn't seen Viper. We hadn't seen Yo yet today, or yet at all in this tournament. And, like, there's only so many possible names remaining. So, like, Viper comes to mind. Hera comes to mind if people were wrong about Vasco da Gama on day 1. But it's just the consistency in which Khazral is booming and pressuring. It's just ridiculous. And we do have Eagles now. There's not many hand cannons anymore. These Eagles have Garland Wars, so lots of extra attack. And I don't think the Eagles are actually going to do much at all here. But it is a nice switch to get some raids in.
I love seeing those kind of unit composition switches, because it's like Red's thinking, okay, there's a lot of skirms coming out, let's make the counter unit. And then Blue's like, well, let's get the counter unit going. And it's almost good just to always get the next unit going, whether you see the opponent making the unit you want to counter, because you know, like, the level's high enough that players are going to counter. So you counter and counter this and counter that, and GG.
GG. Well, it turned into a boom game, and it really felt like the deciding factor for me in this game was that Sigismund, probably in all of his practice, probably from what he assumed people would do on the map, he simply assumed his opponent would cut through to the middle and he could pressure him. And his opponent never cut through to the middle. By the time he got the pressure on Khazral, Khazral had 4 relics and then the economy and slam. I just thought of one interesting little point, actually, when I was saying all that. Wasn't it Sigismund that actually prevented Khazral from cutting and opening up the middle with the archers?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
A fun matchup here. I think Malians are, as we continue to run into each other, it's totally my fault. I think the Malians are a little bit more of a common pick, a bit more flexible. They can combine the archers with knights and Castle Age. I think Malians are like a do no wrong civilization. I think they're one of the best civs in the game right now. The Hindustanis I consider to be more matchup oriented. Like Hindustanis versus Franks matchup might feel good because Franks are a bit more one-sided towards knights. Or Hindustanis against like Mayans can be great because the Mayans are stuck on archers or eagles. But what do you think about the matchup on Arabia we have here? Hindustanis against Malian Slam.
Yeah, I thought for a while, sort of, like Hindustanis went through a period, or when they were Indians as well, they're, you know, before there was change to Hindustanis, everyone was using them for Arabia, or quite often, right? And then I think there was a few changes, and now not as often. But are they sort of making a comeback again? Was there something changed that I wasn't aware of, or are you seeing Hindustanis more now?
Yeah, I think what changed is people stopped going for the 2 Militia Drush as much, which I don't think suited them. And
Yeah.
then people started to realize that the having additional scouts when your opponent walls with the Hindustanis can actually give you some nice value because you could destroy their walls and their houses and whatnot quite quickly. So I think it took time for people for that to really click. And now I'm seeing situations where we saw it earlier today where someone, even if the opponent's walled, will still go up to like 6 or 7 scouts. It protects the map, and then they could just like melt a house with the scouts and really force reactions from their opponent, unlike another civilization can.
Yeah. I personally, I would prefer Malians here. I just think there's just so many benefits to them. They're so smooth in Dark Age. If you want to go for Man at Arms later, or whatever it may be, right? So the gold income is a little bit better, and the cheaper buildings. Everything's just so smooth about them. So you can go into like a follow up with a range, and you'll just love it.
Look at the scouting with the sheep here. He's got 4 sheep scouting. That is something we could maybe do our homework on. Khosrau is APMing it up here, like scouting everything. Usually you're scouting a little bit, but I don't know if people are scouting with 4 in a tournament match that frequently. They're just really going crazy there.
But I'm loving the vision Blue's getting, though. It's super, super nice, man. But I don't think he's pushed any deer, which is fine. You scout your enemy early is just as important. Well, I love pushing deer.
Be honest, Slam. Would you prefer to have all the deer, or would you prefer
have all the deer?
To have. Okay, all right, good. I was gonna say $1 billion, but it's good to know where you sit on that topic. So
yeah,
what is being wealthy if you don't have all the deer underneath your TC? That's what I say. So
yeah, I mean they may rush me, like I may be surprised by a rush. My villagers may all be dying at my wood line, but just give me the deer.
Well, there's some sheep going back home for Khosrau. So this is the reward for not pushing the deer and moving forward early. I think Sigismund knows those sheep are on the move here. Sigismund is up. Khosrau is going to be up as well. And yeah, there's some win rates for the Hindustanis. And yeah, I don't really know what shifted. I think it was at NAC 5 when, well, no, I embarrassed myself quite a lot at NAC 5 actually, because the first 2 days the Hindustanis were losing, and typical caster, I'm just like, I don't see what people have here. I don't understand why people are doing this. And then suddenly once the Hindustanis started winning, I was like telling people, oh, I think I see it now. I think I see it, which is just, this is more about
such a gamble as a caster, because it's so rewarding when you can predict something and about a civ or situation, and it follows through, and you're like, I knew it, and then it can go the other way as well.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say on the prediction front that if the Viper map hacks were more than a meme, more than a joke, which of course it is just a joke, Khosrau is the Viper confirmed, because those golds are very, very good for him on this generation. We've got the main gold on the back, the 2 golds in the back, and then you've got Sigismund with golds more forward here. So I don't know where people sit on the map hack situation here, but Khosrau certainly has a lot to work with. Ooh. Okay. All right. Sigismund stealing some sheep here. Very nice find. I mean, 2 of those are his sheep, but still.
Yeah. Still the idle time too for Vils and such. It's very annoying.
This is something that Hera started to do recently.
Doesn't Hera do that all the time?
Yeah, he started the trend, and I'm going to say it's not him because the scout died, and also because Sigismund accidentally ran underneath the TC. I don't think that was part of the plan there.
Yeah, fair enough.
I actually have... Okay, I'm going to make a statement on players here, Slam. I can't keep my mouth shut on this. Okay. I think I said Vasco da Gama on day 1 was thinking Hera or Hart. And I think we might have found the other side of that. either Hera or Heart here. I'm leaning more towards Vasco da Gama on day one being Hera, and this here being Heart. I'm just seeing some similar
Khazra?
tendencies with how they pick their maps and how they play. Yes, maybe a Leary actually. Oof.
Yeah, I completely forgot about Leary. Man, there's so many names. But who's mentioned the least?
That's a great question. I think like Sebastian is probably, for a player that's so aggressive, Sebastian is probably mentioned the least out of everyone so far in Hidden Cup.
Yeah. So we got Malian's going for scouts. Usually, do they follow up with a range or not with Malians? I don't really know how, Malian should always be played, but I think it's pretty versatile. Oh, is that a black? That's a range, I think. There. Okay.
Who builds their archer range behind gates and not as part of the wall here? That's a little bit interesting. I think a lot of players are going to build their range as part of the wall and not go for the gate. I like the gate. It's just something to pick up on here.
I don't know who. I mean, I'm trying to think of a player that's trying to be like sneaky or something, but I don't know. Just to throw a name, like would Ganji do that or Sato? I don't know.
Possibly.
Hart, I feel like would normally put it out front, but I mean, maybe we're looking to, I don't know, range placement. we're
really getting into the weeds here.
I know. But if you add it all together, I think we can confirm with certainty eventually.
Yeah, I think
with the hidden range, though,
tomorrow's going to be interesting. The hidden range. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, did Red even see this coming out? Because like he's prepared skirms. I don't know if he saw Blue's range, so he must have been a shot in the dark, thinking that. Oh, I got the Civs confused earlier. By the way, I said Malians was going scouts, but it was actually Hindustanis, which actually makes sense now. But yeah, I don't think
it's okay. I didn't notice, but now I know. So
you didn't notice.
It's okay. Apology expected, or apology accepted, rather.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Red just built the range and went for skirms. I don't know if he saw Blue's range. But good job for Red, just expecting what was going to be coming.
Is that what, do you get that a lot as a Canadian? Instead of apology accepted?
Oh no.
People just say apology expected? Is that something?
I love how it was like I was waiting for what you're going to say, and like I just could sense in the air that there was going to be a follow-up after that. Sorry, apologies?
Well, I will say
we say
the micro here for Sigismund, the Sigismund micro here has left a lot to be desired. Khazral had 4 spears. Now, granted, they're Malian spears, but it's 4 spears and like 5 or 6 archers. And while this will probably be cleared up, the majority of the scouts went down. A lot of the skirms went down. And that, to me, was not a fight that was good for Sigismund at all. And behind this, Khazral is going to add more archers. He's going to mix in some scouts and could be in a really solid position with this next attack.
Yeah, even we got a little market going up here as well for Khazral. But yeah, that was a really good engagement by Blue. You can just tell a little bit of I mean, you can't look into score difference too much sometimes, but it is definitely looking good for him right now.
Yeah. Now, the archers are being rather sneaky at the moment, and he chose not to make the scouts. So sometimes you'll see the scouts come from the player in Khazral's position just to push back skirms.
Yeah. What I find interesting here, T90, is Red keeps adding scouts. So he's committing a bit more into feudal age. So this is one of those situations where if Blue can hold off for a little bit longer until he gets his, up to the next age, Red's going to be left behind because he's invested that food in which he cannot go up earlier now. So let's see if Blue can hold off here.
Yeah, it feels like it just brings me back to that other engagement. Khazral did such a good job focusing down the opponent's scouts that now Sigismund has had to add more, right? If the engagement would have gone a bit differently and some food is saved and Sigismund could maybe have a better castle age time, those archers could be devastating. But it is walled now, so sometimes players maybe this is more old meta slam, but I remember some players back in the day, they would just sit those archers in the corner and they wouldn't move them or show them at all until Castle Age.
Yeah. I don't know why. Now all of a sudden I'm thinking, oh, maybe this could be Viper. I always have thought as Viper as being someone who does a good counterplay when he's, you know, under pressure, or he sends some extra units somewhere. For example, like this.
This is really smart, really patient. Yeah, putting the arch there. There's a lot of players in the top 16 who would want to attack right now, but you know, hiding them, chilling, not taking any losses here. Some great patience here from Khazra.
Yeah, and this is a little bit tricky for Red as well, because he is Hindustani, so it's not like you can just build a couple knights or something just to clear off archers. So he's gonna have to find a way to deal with those archers in the back, and it's probably not going to be camels.
Yeah, do you want to get crossbow and bodkin for 9 archers? It doesn't feel the best. You're not going to one-shot villagers with the amount of archers you have on the front. Nice shot from Sigismund to keep applying some pressure here. Because at the very least, like, with the exception of the crossbows, you're not too worried when you see the 3 archers here. A little sloppy there from Khazra. Loses another crossbow.
I've always found with a player like Leary, for example, he'd always excel so much at just building, you know, one range and one stable, and just constantly keeping them producing, and then making a nice mix of an army. I don't know if he does that more now, but in the past I've always respected that. I'm like, wow, he's always got so much army out of just one building of each.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Also, Leary wants to rush ballistics early, which we've seen here from Khazra. Khazra kills 2 villagers there with those crossbows. And that knight is actually going to loop the whole way around. This is super annoying. That knight's probably going to go to where the crossbows are on the wall, which is not an ideal scenario right now for Sigismund.
Yeah, and for Red, like, to stop those archers, like, what's his option? Is he going to invest into skirms? Skirms is so expensive. Just off of thought, you're like, oh, just go skirms, it will be fine. But getting elite skirms it's costly.
Yeah, I think maybe he's thinking camels with upgrades as he gets +2 armor, but this knight, Red knows it's weak. He's trying to hit it, but the knight gets more value. The crossbows now dive in. Killed another villager. It's been 5 villagers killed because Khazra, I think, also killed some on the front. And wherever it's happening, it's just pressure everywhere from Khazra, who's dropping TC number 2, TC number 3, TCs. And just seems so comfortable right now on Arabia Slam.
Yeah, man, I hope he still has just one range and one stable. There's something, the idea behind that I just love, because it's so efficient, right? Sometimes if you go 2 stables or 2 ranges, there's some idle time, but if you just hold the one of each for a little while, but make sure they're constantly producing, it gives you so much efficiency. You can keep eco going and everything.
You are correct. That is a very Leary thing to do. To go 1 range, 1 stable, and max out on upgrades with those units and not add the extra military buildings. That's a very good call here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's tough to really know with Leary because he doesn't... It's tricky with him because you don't know what shape he's going to be in. But I think the most obvious version of Leary is on a map like Arabia. And that's precisely what we're seeing right now from Khazra.
Wait a second. Was it Khazra that we were kind of commenting on the maps being a bit more open? I don't know.
Arabia.
Like this was his.
Yeah.
Arabia. Yeah. And then. Yeah. Okay. I'll have to write that down.
Yeah. Interesting. Obviously did land on islands, which I wouldn't associate with Leary. So I'm suddenly convincing myself that prediction makes no sense, but
ended up winning islands though. Like Bengalis was a later pick, so maybe, you know, if it was Leary, he'd be thinking, well, you know, I'll just use a later pick for islands because I maybe don't care about that map as much. At least I think he doesn't care about islands, but
yeah. Well, this is wonderful stuff right now from Khazra, whoever he is, and he's using this small group of crossbows. It's getting much larger, but he's using it very effectively so far. Great archer micro. Yeah. And the camels have armor, they have attack. They're hoping to still kill these. They're not a direct counter. They're trying to get around the crossbows. They should be able to with mobility, so they get the hill. There is a problem here, though, and it's just you do not have that much attack with camels, so you're losing quite a few camels either way.
So when you do the one range, one stable play, once you get your TCs going, this is definitely where you want to start adding military buildings. So I'm sure he's probably adding something. I don't know. Yeah, there's 2 ranges now. Like, I don't know if it was going to be 2 stables or 2 ranges, but yeah, because you invest little in the military, but you make it efficient. And then you go for eco, and then you've got to swing back to military to keep that map control.
Yep. And camels from Sigismund. Camels, really tough unit to raid with, which is what I've always found is a problem for Hindustanis in these situations.
Yeah.
They're good at like controlling the map and taking it late game, but actually finishing off the opponent or catching up in a game is so difficult. Oh, we got the Stone Gate there. Stone Gate and a house here from Khosrow. Beautiful little trap, and he's going to trap on the other side with the Blacksmith and another side with the University. Tell me this can't be one of the biggest names associated with traps again, people.
All right. I'm
Beautiful
sold. I'm
stuff
sold.
there. That was a triple. Talk to me, Slam. You're sold on who?
I am so sold. Yeah, it is 100% Sebastian. No, I'm just kidding. It could be Sebastian. No, but no. Okay, leaning towards Viper here, I think. But this still
leaning
could be
towards
Sebastian.
Viper.
He's an upcoming player. He's playing excellent. Sebastian is
actually
looking a
think
whole
Sebastian
lot
is
like Viper right now.
Yeah. Well, that's the idea. But between, you got these young guns in here, they can do that too. I actually think Sebastian, Hart, I think there's just so many players this could freaking be in Slam. It just brings me back to what we said earlier. We should probably shut up about the identities because
I know
it's just so tough this time. It is so tough this time because everyone's playing so good.
Yeah, it just feels like the game is getting more and more optimized. So some players aren't sticking out as much as they used to. So yeah, it's making it a whole lot harder for us.
Okay, nobody said doubt over the last few moments. Oh God!
That's a big hit.
That is a really big hit. There's going to be another one. Oh no!
He's got a wall to build.
This castle could be denied. There's going to be another Mangonel at some point. Maybe camels are on the way. Quick gate, quick wall. Okay. That was fast.
Yeah, that was
impressive.
Fast. That was that was yeah.
Okay, castle will go up.
I think he's gonna be okay. He lost the military, but again, focusing on the avail count, I mean, that's a significant difference.
Yep. And we also have Gebetto on the way. We've got some farming eco being expanded now. Gebetto is actually a great unit against Camel. Crossbow's not that great with Malians long-term anyways. We've got Relic number 2, I believe, coming in for Khosrow somewhere. And I remember when Khosrow almost had all 5 relics and know what I was thinking then. There's Relic number 2. Your boy Sigismund right now needs to make something happen.
Good.
It's not looking good.
No, not at all. So it does look like Viper. Sorry, it does look like Khosrow is on. He's on 4 TCs currently, which is okay. They're both on 4 TCs, but yeah, the eco lead is pretty big right now. What do you think we're going to see from Malians going into Imp?
Okay, this is coming from the guy who said we have to stop guessing, but I can't help myself. If this is Viper, he will actually go Elite Gebetto. I think
you think so? Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, I think it's a really good unit.
I hope so.
It's a little worrisome against. It's definitely worrisome against hand cannons from Hindustanis, but I could see Elite Gebetto being a long-term option. Like Gebetto, like Kev or something could be strong.
Yeah, what did Hindustanis have against Gebettos? Like, I guess you can go Bombard Cannon. Gebettos just seem really strong, especially once you mix them in with something else.
Yeah, this is a little sloppy here for Khosrow. His opponent's finding some damage here. Khosrow, 50 villager lead. Still trying to mask those Gebettos. It definitely feels like Khosrow, he's ready for this red army to die in a way where he's like, he almost feels like he should have won the fight already. That's how I would describe this engagement. I don't know, like a lazy engagement almost, Slam. I don't know if you ever have those, but...
Oh, yeah. All the time, yeah. Sometimes it doesn't turn out too well, though. It does look like Siggy is going to be up earlier. But again, like the Vil the Vil difference has got even larger since the last time I checked. So this is just going to leave so many options open for Khosrow. He could probably at this point get away with many unit compositions, whether it be, you know, camels or Gebettos, and could probably
just
still
like
win
casually building this mining camp, even though the fight's not completely won yet. This is just like, I'm gonna win eventually. Again, it doesn't feel that concise. It doesn't feel that calculated right now for Khosrow. But again, maybe it's because he feels like he can do whatever. Mixing in some camels again, making more Gebetto again. Full castle age for him. We do have Imp for Sigismund. I mean, Sigismund is staying in this.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Khosrow he's going for more Castle Age or Blacksmith upgrades, and he's not too rushed to get into Imperial Age. Did he can't? I don't know if he canceled one or not. Oh, no, he didn't. Or I think it went through scale barding armor, but yeah, maybe he just wants to do more damage early on in Castle Age. Sometimes staying in one age is not the end of the world.
Yeah, I want to see. At some point, I'd really like to see the buildings next to the castle that Khosrow built on the left side. If these buildings are not spaced, now granted, Viper might want to hide his identity here. Viper's got this idea of spacing his buildings. Those aren't Viper stables right there, Slam. Those are not Viper stables. They are not spaced evenly.
Not.
No, they're not.
Oh,
nope,
boy.
They're definitely not.
Wait, are you being serious? Does he actually space them?
Yeah. He always has one tile gap between a lot of his buildings, and it's always like somewhat satisfying and orderly, I would say. I'm serious.
Okay.
That's my feeling.
Okay. No, that's great. Yeah.
I'm not being sarcastic.
It was crazy. At that same moment, I was thinking, oh man, the way Blue put that castle to get map control so early. I know other players do it too, but it just I was like, this has got to be Viper.
That is, you're right.
Second you said it's not Viper.
You are right though. You're right. No, I 100% agree with you. But there's another player, as we've gotten very guessy in this series, because it feels like Khosrow's going to win, who is known for building castles that doesn't go up, and apparently this is doubt versus doubt. What have we been doing,
no,
people?
We're
what have
back
we
to
been
doubt
predicting?
again?
It is clearly doubt versus doubt. Both castles fail. Both castles are a struggle. I suppose maybe Emperor's Castle will go up, but oh my goodness. I mean, there's a whole lot more army on the way.
Yeah. Like the Castle Age army from Khosrow is just doing so much damage. I just didn't expect to have see so much dominance in Castle Age still. Usually, someone hits Imp and it's like they start taking control right away, but yeah, it doesn't look like that here.
Yeah, I mean, Bracer just kicked, so now you're going to see those Cav Archers become a bit stronger, but it was just a lot of additional army here from Khosrow and just confidence with his eco. He's flying right now, and he will complete that castle. And these Cav Archers are getting their kills, but pretty soon Khosrow will be upgrading these units. And I think we could see Elite Gebetto, which was the thing we talked about. We could see Camel. We could see endless opportunities here for Khosrow.
Yeah, look at the extra little placement on those Gebettos on the right too. Like that's just an extra thought. To do something like that. Just place little unit placements, castles here and there. It just seems like Blue just is ready just to secure the win. He knows he has it, but he's just making sure and taking his time.
Yeah, agreed. And really expanding now. Not rushing to build the other castles. Certainly could see more of them. Getting the upgrades that we're missing here. And I think Khosrow knows this is probably it. I've won this game, but poor Emperor Sigismund doesn't want to be knocked out of Hidden Cup. So doesn't want to accept that the dream is dead just yet.
Yeah, and Siggy he played some good matches as well. Like for this game too, it could have gone head to head, but I think it's just that one small mistake of, maybe investing a little bit too much into Feudal Age, a few extra scouts, that didn't help pay off, and then all of a sudden the Malians just get up earlier and they take off and they get their TCs down, and
Yeah, and that's what the best Arabia players will do to you. If you overinvest, they'll kill you in castle. Or in this case, Imp. Like, they would just outboom you completely. You have no chance. That's what Arabia has become, especially a version like this, which is a bit safer. And, yeah, unfortunately for Sigismund, there's going to be light cav everywhere. There's going to be castles everywhere. And this is just complete and utter domination from Khosrow, who has played so amazing with eco. It might actually be the best boomer so far of any of the players in Hidden Cup. I remember, like, 5 TCs from Lithuanians. Here we had 5 TCs. Castles everywhere. And yeah, this Cav Archer army is not long for this world. Will be killed. Castles will go up then. Could be the end of the game right here.
Yeah. And there's so much going on from Khazra on the map, like all these extra details where I'm thinking, like just the castle on the right, on the left, a unit behind the wood. A lot of complexity here.
Yeah, Khazra wins the series, and it was a dominant display from Khazra. Made 68 Gebetto, 52 crossbows, and 51 light cav. Beautiful balance there. And I'm very curious to see the rest of Khazra, because Khazra, we only had 5 games, and we didn't see too many of some of the other maps we've seen in the other sets. A very curious, excuse me. It's been a long day to find out how Khazra performs in the quarters. And of course, we know that Khazra is going to be up against King Steven, who was an amazing player earlier on in the day. Just boom, domination, eco game from Khazra there, Slam. And we're going to go back through this series. So because we're going to do a vote soon. People need to vote. How this started was Khazra landed on island. So went for the transport ship. Almost denied that castle. But kind of the thinking here, Slam, was if the landing is decently successful, the late game with the Bengalis on water would win. And I don't know. What are you thinking about Bengalis on islands after this?
I mean, all of a sudden I realized they're actually a really good Civ for islands, especially as the game goes on, because we mentioned so much about the healing of the ships, even the extra vills. Again, though, I'd have to see a few more games, because I don't know how much we should give respect to the landing. Maybe the landing did, set Khazra much further ahead than the Civ itself.
Yeah, that's fair. It was a really successful landing. It's very well timed. I think maybe Sigismund thought that maybe a bit of Italians overconfidence could have happened there for Sigismund, because I thought the relics were good. Maybe the thinking was, if I have 5 relics, my opponent doesn't, and I'm Italians and I'll dominate in a galleon war, but didn't happen.
Sigismund almost bounced back though, like it was getting a little bit even again, but sometimes it's hard to see the the earlier advantage you have kind of come through as the game goes on. And this was a beautiful trap, by the way, by Sigmund.
Yep. Another thing to mention from the start here, granted the first Islands game in the main event, both players went double dock into like Market Blacksmith Fast Castle, which I was expecting a lot more like double dock into the third, into the fourth dock, lots of Navy.
Yeah.
They were both very relaxed about how they did things on Islands.
Yeah, it's like they were expecting one of them to land almost. So it almost makes you wonder if you just commit with 3 docks at one point. But I mean, these guys have been practicing. I don't know what's best, but I'm going to assume that the 2 dock approach that they're doing is probably the right way at this moment.
I'm not laughing at you, Slam. I'm laughing at the chat and the highlights. They're in game 1. There were a bunch of comments. Someone said 2 medium players, nothing better. And then very much like the very first thing I saw in chat on the highlight here, it was the Viper versus Yo. Oh, you gotta love
This is great. It's great. I love how it's swinging all over the place. There's no certainty.
Yeah, I mean, this was a crazy game, man. Like this, let's not forget about Sigismund's win here. This was crazy. Denies this castle. We're thinking like Japanese cav archers and samurai. What can the Celts do? Because we are so one-track minded as casters. We're thinking Woadies, and the Woad Raiders played their role, but it was the siege that finished off the samurai.
That was a great moment right there. Like, I just love how Red just parked those Scorpions behind the Trebs, fought on the left with the Woads. Perfect engagement. Sure, the set went, for Khazra, but Siggy did some brilliant moves. Yeah.
And here, it did feel like
this is where he lost 1 Vil.
Really know. Yeah, this is where you predicted 1 Vil would die. It was a brilliant prediction, Slam.
Why don't they pull away the highlight soon? Why are they
But
stop.
Even though Slam was wrong and he can't bear to admit it, I think that the approach from Khazra was so smooth here. Here was the trap. Little patience on the trap there, waiting till the Knights went in a bit further and placing the palisade, converting the Knights. But behind this, man, we eventually saw 5 TCs from Khazra, which is why so many people think it's got to be one of the greediest players in the game.
Again, on that previous game, Khosrow kind of took off with the earlier Castle Age and extra TCs. That kind of seeing that theme. Same with the last match, and that previous one we're looking at.
Yeah, this one too. Lots of aggression from Sigismund, and by the time he got over to Khosrow's base, Khosrow had collected 5,000 more resources and was prepared. This was an interesting fight in some ways. Seeing the monks go down, you might think this is bad for Khosrow, but he did push back all the siege because of this. And then an imp, it was just, he just needed skirms and a couple monks, and that was the death of the Bohemians.
Definitely a promising strat on paper when you think of Bohemian, Hand Cannoneers, and Castle Age. Like, it can be deadly, but he didn't seem to be able to execute that one with the wood line.
This is a fight. Some of the poor moments happened just before this. This is a fight where I think Sigismund was expecting to clear this already. And this micro, the distraction there from Khosrow was sick. And he just got a lot of value. Now, did end up losing these archers eventually, but he just wanted to get to Castle. And in Castle Age, his eco was flying yet again with a 20 lead.
Yeah. So yeah, in between those two scenes, you can just, as you mentioned, the eco difference. And again, that would, I think the kind of unseen thing is the added scouts perhaps, and staying in Feudal Age a little bit longer and not getting that damage done. Easier to see from our end because you can see the whole map, but perhaps Sigmund, saw an opportunity where he could maybe, engage somewhere.
Okay, so this was maybe the most highlight-worthy trap so far of Hidden Cup 5. We had a university, a gate, a house, and a blacksmith involved in that. And that's where people started to scream, must be Viper. Then this happened, and I saw a whole lot of doubts for some reason. But, the castle was still going to go up for Khosrow. That was really the biggest problem he had in that game.
And then these quick walls on the castle were, we both said, oh, that was pretty fast at the same time when those walls went up on the castle. So, but,
I'm not convinced this is Viper. I think we haven't seen Viper Illyria yet, and I think we see him tomorrow. I think this is. I think Khosrow is Sebastian.
Well, then he's playing great.
I think people underrate Sebastian massively. Yeah. I think my prediction coming into Hidden Cup was that Sebastian and Hart would be the two players for the qualifiers that would that people would confuse with some of the biggest names. I'm curious to see what people think on the votes, which we're going to do next, guys. We're going to have the polls pop up and you can vote. Don't worry. We're not going to, hunt you down if you get it wrong. Please tell me who you thought the winner was. Khosrow, vote away in the chat. Again, to my knowledge, this does not work on the YouTube stream yet. It may in the future. It may not. We're working on it, but it does work on Twitch. Just vote. Was Khosrow the Viper? Was it somebody else out there? Give me your thoughts.
Oh, T90, I just want to throw it. Just like Dave had some power. He just started throwing out a name or something, and people just started going that way. Well, I mean, we all noticed Khosrow. No, it's not. It's not going to work now. I mean, basically telling everyone, I want to try and trick you. So here, come into my trick. I should have never said anything, but I think a lot of us were feeling Viper on that one. In all seriousness,
I can
maybe not you T90, but
so the thing that I'll say, having done Hidden Cups in the past, I've never really felt like it was Viper in the first round because I was expecting like super 120% in shape Viper, dominant display, and Viper, especially these days, he can have a slower build in a tournament. So that definitely could have been Viper, maybe a bit of an easier matchup for him, more of a relaxed situation where we didn't see his peak all the time, or maybe a Viper who wants to hide who he is. But Viper, 3-time Hidden Cup champion, apparently is Khosrow at the top vote there, according to the community.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with how much we were mentioning Viper on the last game, I mean, I'm not too surprised, but it's so hard to say.
Yeah. Well, so that one might actually be the easier one to speculate on, Slam. Then you have Emperor on the other side, who I felt like his draft in some situations was very but I felt like his level, even if it's Viper on the other side, would maybe be a bit higher there. I've got to lean towards players who maybe we don't know as much about this Hidden Cup. Maybe a player who came in via the qualifier, I could see maybe like a Jordan there, possibly. Maybe I could see a Barles.
Yeah.
I could see a Hart on an off day, a Ganji, a Sito, one of those guys.
Yeah, so I don't know. So before this match, I've kind of been watching some of Mihai's games and sort of what he's been liking to play. And the
Yeah.
maps he chose were kind of catering towards, I think, what Mihai was really kind of into with the games I was watching.
Okay.
So I'm really actually getting a super strong vibe for Mihai right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Dave,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
T90, that meter is not going up at all. And
you
no,
tried.
I tried my best. Okay, so never mind. That thing didn't flinch. That meter did not. And I called you Dave too. I fell apart within like 10 seconds there.
Me when I get 4 nights into my base. I think ACCM's actually a solid shout there. If ACCM is out of shape, has an off day. I mean, up against Viper, maybe senses it's Viper for various factors, but we're saying that is the Viper against Hart. But it was very close. It was not close at all. We had Sito on there, and Yo, I think Sito has been second place on like 4 of these votes so far in Hidden Cup 5.
Yeah. That was pretty low percentages and quite even. Just goes to show you that, yeah, we have no idea who that is.
Well, we can use process of elimination. If we could go to the bracket that has all the community votes so far. Community, we've done a great job. We haven't voted in the same person more than once so far, which is impressive to me. I'm also a little disappointed in you guys. Like, I thought it'd be funny if you did, but no, everyone's taking this very seriously. So according to this, right, if this is correct, which I highly doubt, but if it is correct, we are missing Sebastian, Sito, Leary, Yo. Sebastian, Sito, Leary, Yo has a real ring to it. And those would be bangers tomorrow. Like absolute bangers, I think. So I don't know, dude. I mean, I think there's a very good chance tomorrow we see a series and everyone starts rethinking this whole thing. I think it all falls apart. Like if we see a more Viper-esque performance from somebody tomorrow, everyone's gonna have to think who was Khazra. And then if Khazra was that guy, who was Vasco da Gama on day one, you know?
I can't take it anymore. T90.
That
and with how much
fun.
Yo has been mentioned, I'm surprised he's not on there yet.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it was that Yo ACCM situation. I think the player everyone thought was Yo. They didn't want to accept that Yo could have lost in the first round. So they maybe leaned a little bit more towards ACCM because they have similar tendencies. But anyways, it was fun, Slam. I had a great time. Thank you so much for joining, my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite. That was quite fun. So appreciate it, T90. And guys, thanks for all the support for everything about AOE. All right, guys.
All right, see you, Slam.